Like you can make it go straight, or you can make it go like really curved. Yeah. So because the thing is that I only have my table to work with, and my table itself is really not that big. So I have like super limited space. So you gotta get creative on that. If not,
And my second favorite part is when you use that paintbrush to brush away all the the nubs.
I stopped doing the ASMR starting from the GM episode. I'm gonna stop doing all the ASMR because that thing alone took like 3 to 4 days to complete, and like at least 8 hours of editing.
Oh yeah, we are live, guys. Heads up.
Oh, what's up?
What's up? Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Hey, how's chat? Hello, everybody in chat. Say what's up.
Dude, when you say how's chat, I literally thought someone on the chat is named Chat.
Oh
God, Justin.
Like CHAD
yeah.
chat.
I can see that. I can see that.
What's up, Chat?
Hello, live chat,
guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of Gunpla Talk Show. Right. This is your host. What's my name again now? It's Master Grade Jess. I probably won't change it again. We have Justin.
Yo, what up?
There. We
What
have
up?
Chris.
What's up, Gunpla? Then
And
we
then
have
the
the
random guy, man.
we have the 2018 Canadian champion. Let me introduce you to Ryan. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, dude, it's an honor, man. We really appreciate you coming on, man. Like, we really appreciate it. It's such an honor.
Exactly.
Yeah, guys, we have a really special episode for you guys. It's very structured. I mean, all of them are, but this one's just extra structured, based on something. Remember to check out Justin's new video. He posted it up. What was it? This morning, over here in America and whatever. Yeah, he posted it this morning. And just be sure to just keep looking out for his stuff. But yeah, like I said, I hope that all of you guys are doing well. That you guys have been doing well this whole week, with the whole crazy stuff that's going on in the world still. But leaving that aside, I feel like we should move on to Ryan, better known as Gunpla Enthusiast, right?
Yeah, go follow him.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, that's my Instagram handle. So
go follow him.
All right, Ryan. So how are you, man?
Good, very good. Yeah, I'm excited to kind of chat with you guys today about Gunpla and just have a good time. Yeah, it's good.
All right, that's all it's about, right? So for you guys that don't know, Ryan actually won the Canadian GBWC in 2018, which is pretty funny when you think about it, because we had the 2019 champion a couple of weeks ago. So we're just feeling ourselves with champions over here on this side.
We're just going through all the Canadians. Going through them all.
We're going through all Canada. But Ryan was actually, though I've seen his work before, I never knew that he actually lives like 2.5 hours away from me, I think.
Yeah, you need to take advantage, bro.
He was introduced. Yeah, I got to take advantage of all of this once the Rona goes away. He was introduced by Alina, right, and Derek over there in the Calgary Gunpla community. So shout out to them. Thank you for hooking us up with him. That's how we were able to contact them. And he's just a great builder. I mean, I don't know what else to say. And I even feel that's downplaying it a little bit. I don't know. What do you think, Justin?
I think he's a great builder, and then coming to know him a little bit better, I know that he's a really cheerful guy. Super cheerful. Great energy, great attitude. Come on, man. There's what else? What else would you ask for? I mean, like as a great builder, handsome looking, and then come on, man. Come on.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing?
Come on.
You're making me blush, man. You're making me blush.
No, hey, he's married. Leave him alone. Leave him alone.
But yeah, I mean, like it's really an honor to be doing the show, and then to keep on having champions coming over to the show, and not only champions. In fact, we have a lot of talented guys coming on the show as well. And it's really amazing. A lot of people thought that like those champions and those really famous Instagrammers, for example, like Patrick last week, a lot of people thought that, dude, it's so hard to talk to them. You know, they are like so unreachable. But guys, let me tell you something. They are reachable. Like literally, you just have to send them a text, bro. Would you like to be on the show? and then you'll be like,
Yep.
okay.
And you know, like I don't consider myself a champion because I'm still always learning as well too.
Oh
Like,
man,
it's kind of a journey,
come
right?
on.
Like no, I'm serious. Later on, I'm gonna show you some of my earlier builds, and you guys will be like, "What?" but there's a
We
purpose
all start
behind it.
somewhere. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm still learning so much, and there's still so much I don't know too. So, yeah, we're all in this journey together, this Gunpla journey together. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're going.
And
We're
that's
going
the best
to
part, right? You're not alone.
That's
Like,
right.
You're not alone.
we're going to be High School Musical all over again, right?
We're all in
And
this
this
together.
together.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Stop.
See, guys,
Stop.
what did I tell you about Ryan? He's just really cool, man.
He's a really cheerful guy.
Justin loves to sing.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, and to keep making him blush because he's turning red.
Yeah,
You know what?
exactly.
No, well, when we called him yesterday, it was just kind of like I always try to keep my expectations low. Because I don't want to meet. I do know some people in the Gunpla community. I don't know them, but I do know some of them just basically don't reply or anything because most of the time I reach out to the people to see if they want to be on the show, right?
Mhm.
So I'm on that dude. So I talk to people. And it's difficult because what I feel is one of the biggest problems is the language barrier. I've had so many people say yes, they would like to come on, but they're from either Italy, and I'm not talking about what was his name, the guy from Italy who won the first one?
Kodo Paints.
Kuroda Pinsta.
Yeah, him. He's Italian. Then we have like a Korean guy who can't make it because he doesn't speak English, and it's cool to have it's cool, but it's sad at the same time because I wish we could have that. But we do have Chris who speaks Korean, right? So
Oh yeah.
that's
Google Translator.
He speaks half the time.
I know all the bad words. I just know all the bad words and the insults and all the racial slangs. That's all I know.
That's all that matters, man.
Kimchi shimida.
I gotta make sure they're not talking shit about me. You gotta know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh
All right,
yeah.
guys. Well, then again, welcome to the show. We're gonna start off like every other show when we talk to the guests. We're gonna start with some basic questions. Ryan, Chris, you want to do the questions for me, guys? I'm not gonna talk a lot this episode. I hurt my mouth, and it hurts when I speak a little bit. So I'm gonna hand off the mic to my boys over here.
He's on injured reserve.
So aren't you guys curious how he hurt his mouth?
This is
get hot here.
a kid-friendly show.
Oh, okay.
Kid-friendly show, guys.
Wait,
Oh man.
Chris, did you find it's made for kids?
Yeah.
It's fine. Well, anyway, I'm gonna start as in we have like a set of generic questions that we do ask for our guests. Our guests. So one of the question is, how did you get started? When did you start? What was your first kit? So
Yeah.
the stage is yours, right?
Cool. Yeah, well, I got started when I was around 9 or 10 years old. That's when I lived in Hong Kong at the time. I lived there for 2 years, and then so I remember.
I knew it. I knew that you're from Hong Kong because
Really? How?
the surname Lau.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because if you're if you're from Taiwan, it's gonna be pronounced as Liu instead.
Oh
Because
yeah.
Because you're Cantonese, Lao
That's
Ma,
right. Yeah. Do you speak Cantonese?
Yeah, I speak Cantonese.
Oh, nice.
Justin speaks everything.
我都識講。Oh,
Justin
really?
speaks every language in the world. Just so you know.
真係識啊，點解唔識嘅？好容易啫嘛，其實好簡單啫。
好叻喎，大佬。
OK 啦。
Okay, anyways, it's not gonna be a Cantonese.
No, you got it good. Do your thing, man.
But yes, I was 9 when I was there, and then so one of my family friends, they gave me a kit. It was of the oh man, I just lost the name of it. Anyways, it was one of those super old kits that didn't snap together. Actually, well, it would snap together, but it wouldn't stay together. So you needed super glue to keep it together. Oh, the Haishiki. It was the Haishiki,
okay.
I don't know,
Nice.
like the original, the very first one. And it's basically so I had a lot of help putting it together, but I didn't really think much of it then, but that was my very first kit. And that was that was a long time ago. Yeah, a really, really long time ago. And then,
Wow.
Since then, I haven't, since then, I basically took a break. I didn't really do any Gunpla until university again. And then that's when I kind of started up again. So Yeah. But I'll talk about that later too. So yeah.
All right. So like I have a personal questions. Like you were in Hong Kong during your childhood, right? During your childhood times.
Just for 2 years.
Oh, just for 2 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Because probably if you stayed in Hong Kong, you're probably it's probably easier. I mean, for every modeler out there, Hong Kong is like a paradise, right? Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan. These are like top 3 places where you can get all the tools you want, get all the kits you want.
Yeah.
Whenever they release, they're one of the first one to get, right? Even iPhones are cheaper there, man. Even cheaper than the States. So I get my stuff.
And the modelers there are like first class. Like they're so amazing. Like in Hong Kong, Hong Kong, China, Japan. Like they actually in all Asian countries actually. Like even in the Philippines. Like the exposure there, it's like part of the ingrained in their culture almost, right? It's kind of like what they grew up with as kids, right?
Kind of. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, like Gunpla got really popular within these recent years, right?
Yes.
Over in the States and over in Canada and Europe countries as well, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
In fact, even Gunpla, I don't think Gunpla was even a term until maybe like 5 years ago. You know, like it's a relatively new term, like the word Gunpla. Before it'd be like, oh, you build Gundams, right? And so Gunpla is a relatively new term, right? Because when I built it, even at university, like it wasn't a term at all, you know, and there was barely anyone building at the time, or at least no one on. I feel like YouTube really helped open up the gates, to show people like this whole hobby, right? Because at least in North America, most of the modeling is all military, right?
Military, train.
Yeah,
I used to watch a lot of train modeling.
Yeah.
Those Tamiya cars, the cars from Revels as well, right?
That's right. Yeah. And Star Wars too, right?
Yeah, all Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. And so Gunpla or Gundam models, right, weren't nearly as popular as they are now, right? So, which is, it's amazing. I love how people love it so much now.
I think it's because of IBO. IBO helped it like take the next level.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
The build series, the Gundam build series did a lot too.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, with the kids, it sucked all the kids in.
Oh, you mean the Build Diver series?
Yeah,
Build Diver series, and everyone's like, "Oh, you can customize kits! Like that's so cool! I want to do that!" Right? So they really kind of caught a big audience there too, right? So
I watched a couple of episodes of the Build Diver series. It's cheerful.
Cheerful. It's like Gundam Power Rangers to me.
Yeah, kind of like that. But it's all good. It's all good. It's fun to see like. It's fun to even have that imagination where you can get your Gunplas, put it on the scanner, and then you'll be in with your Gunplas waiting for you in the hangar. Wouldn't that be freaking cool? Come on, man.
Yeah.
We would be doing the show in GBN.
I can't talk shit. I got the core Gundam right here. I can't talk shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, right here.
Wait, didn't you post a picture of one of yours carrying him like a baby?
I had the PG Exia holding him like a baby. Oh no. The PG Exia was holding the new Gundam, the RG new, like a baby.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Seriously.
You should build a mega size, holding a PG, holding an MG, holding an HG, and then holding an SD.
That's not a bad idea.
That's like Russian doll, but in a Gunpla.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh.
But hey Ryan, who do you look up to for inspiration? Like, where do you find all your?
Oh, I love that question.
Yeah.
There's so many amazing modelers out there, and what I love about the hobby is that there's so many different approaches to it. Like there's guys out there who are amazing painters. There's one guy I love well, he's a Japanese builder. His name is Yupa, and he has like the most YUUPA. You can look for him in Instagram. He's aside from maybe Justin, he's probably one of the fastest painters I know. Justin and Chris.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
But this guy, like this guy, like he basically takes all these kits, he paints them in super clean and really, really vibrant and beautiful colors. And but they're like usually the original colors that he does, and so they're not like crazy colors that he does. But I love following him. One guy who does experiment with a lot of incredible paint techniques, his name is Seth Tuna. I think he's from Vietnam, but he's like amazing. Like you should check out his Instagram.
Like what is Seth, how to spell?
So it's spelled SETH, and then Tuna is T Seth, and then Tuna
Seth Tuna Corner.
Yeah.
That's the Instagram tag. Oh wow! I'm just looking at his stuff right now. It's
we're following all these people right now.
Yeah. Like those two guys, like you can tell how different they are, right? Because Seth Tuna does so many different custom paint schemes, and he does so many different paint techniques, and his LED work is like next to like. I mean, I don't know anyone.
Yeah, man, it's really amazing because he and the Gunpla guy, it's like completely opposites.
Completely opposite, right? But
because
they're both guys.
Oh my God.
They're both guys who just specialize in. Well, Seth also does a lot of modding and stuff, right? Like, don't get me wrong, right? But like, I feel like his strong point is just how amazing he is with his paint technique. And I just love looking at his work, and I mean, Yupa's a Japanese guy, so I can't actually talk with him, right? But like, Seth is a super humble guy too. Like we've exchanged messages in the past. So in fact, later on, you'll see one of my the SD Neo Xiang was kind of I kind of copied or imitated one of his SD Neo Xiang. Yeah. But it was how I kind of learned, right? So I mean, I learned so much just from looking at his design and everything to learn different paint techniques and stuff.
Exactly.
So those are two amazing painters. Next up is like scribers. Okay, so there's guys who are amazing at scribers. One of my very favorite modelers is Joshua Dara. And have you guys heard of him before?
No.
He's like Australian. Oh, you guys got to check out his work, man. Like, he's one of my favorite modelers because he does the most beautiful and clean scribing panel lines ever. And his panel line designs is amazing. So he's actually a previous GBWC winner, like from Australia.
Yeah, was he there last year? Because I think Nicholas told
no, he didn't win last year, but he won in 2015 with his Sinanju. Okay. So his Sinanju is like well known, like he's really well known, like
my favorite. Dara.
Yeah, and my favorite of his though is his Zeta. His Zeta.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Zeta. I'm looking at the Zeta right now. It looks even better.
The amazing thing is like he actually made a whole digital book showing his entire work process that you can either donate like a little tiny money for, or you can just buy upfront, like just pay any amount of money you want, or you can get it for free. But you really learn a lot about his process. But he's so meticulous and he's so precise. And that's where, in terms of my scribing, like that's where I get a lot of inspiration from. Like I just love his work, and his like design is beautiful too. Like his panel line design is honestly next level. Like if you look at his stuff, it's so clean, right?
Yep.
So that's one type of panel lining, right? Which is really cool. Another type of panel line, which is amazing, is this guy called Studio Rihito. He's on Instagram as well too. So
sounds like Studio me.
Yeah. Like, what? Studio? At least it's not G. It's
hey. At least he didn't say that. At least he didn't say EA, right?
Come on.
Yeah, but if you look at Studio Rahito's scribing, it's completely different because he's more of a pattern scriber. But he's really impressive. So Rahito is Rihito.
Yep, I'm searching. I'm
I follow him already.
I'm following all of them right now.
Exactly.
So
me too.
His scribing is completely different because he does like asymmetrical pattern scribing, which are super fine, super like detailed, and it's like it's awe-inspiring to see his designs and everything. So I don't really scribe like he does, right? I like to scribe more like actual, mechanical panels that make sense, kind of like more along Joshua Dara's kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. Studio Rihito is like more on patterns. Like
that's right. Yeah,
he just likes to be there for the sake of being there.
Wouldn't patterns be harder because you have to be more symmetrical? With like every pattern has to be exactly the same.
Both. Exactly. Like, well, his patterns are really, it's hard. Like, especially because he carves at probably like super fine, like I don't even know, like maybe 0.1 millimeters or something to get them perfectly parallel. But I'm like pretty blown away by that, right? Like it's pretty beautiful stuff. Like, it's like so different, right? So like once again, it's like two very different schools of scribing, right? And then finally, like the third group of guys that I love is like the custom like kit bashers and like people who just like to like make amazing mechs, and like I know Patrick mentioned two of them last week, which was E-Day and Toy Maker. So those
Mhm.
those 2
Mhm.
guys are awesome. They're like next level, you know. Like Ide, a toy maker, they're really really good. There's one just escaped my mind. Oh, there's this one guy that I follow. What's his name? It's like he's a Japanese guy too, but he's like called what was it? Blue like 0265 or something like that. Like something
Okay.
something
Very
random.
Blue, blue.
Specific.
Yeah. It's literally blue 0625. So this guy's crazy. He scratch built hands for the MG XS Gundam.
Ooh.
Like if
Oh,
you look
wow.
at his earlier posts, and they're articulating fingers, right? Like if you imagine
Yeah.
an MG, right, how tiny the hand is. This guy scratch built the hands, but his scratch building is probably the cleanest that I've ever seen, right? Like it's so like he's so precise, right? Like I love
Uh-huh.
that. Other guys I love is his name is James J Garage, and Underdog too. Underdog is Antonius. He's one of my friends from GBWC. But James J Garage is one of my really really favorite customizers, kit bashers and stuff. He built like a whole GPO1 with a whole like I think it was GPO3 head behind, and he built the entire head out of like Gundam parts and stuff for his GBWC entry. So yeah, anyways. Yeah, these guys are crazy.
That's
Wait,
awesome.
what's the last one again? I'm sorry, James.
James J Garage. It's all one word, I think.
That's funny. I follow all these people already.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
It's just everywhere there's Gundam, he's there. Like on Instagram,
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
see him.
I got.
When
I
I
got.
have someone who says Gunpla Razzi's already following, I'm like, oh, okay.
Like,
And then
like
there's-
seriously.
Yeah. There's like one last category of Gundam builders I love too are like the diorama guys. So
Uh-huh.
there's diorama guys who are amazing. So like most people in the Gunpla community know of Win. Win is like Thailand. He's like the past like gold, silver, and bronze winner, like world winner for GBWC. But he's like his dioramas are ridiculous. Like you could just Google up his like We Are Gundam series. He built one of his gold entry for GBWC was like I think it was 2015 or something. He built like a whole wooden statue. It was like ridiculous. Like,
I think I've seen
just,
that one.
You know, yeah, it's like next level. And then like another guy is from Hong Kong. His name is Sing Chiu, I think, and he's like awesome. Like his diorama builds are like amazing. So much detail. The weathering is like so beautiful. I love that guy's work as well too. So, but yeah, I know. So I get inspiration everywhere. Like you can tell how like from painting to scribing to diorama, like all those guys are like top of the game. You know, those are the guys I like. You know, I'm just like, man, like how do they even do it? You know, so.
Seriously.
Yeah, I'm sure you inspire people too, which is pretty cool.
No.
I mean, because it's true, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's cool to see, like, for example,
Full circle.
I'm going to keep naming him, like Nicholas Tejada and even like Gundam Guardian, and all of them have these people that they look up to.
Yeah.
But for example, I myself, like I've stated many times, I'm just barely starting to customize. I look up to all of you guys, right? And it's like, wow. Like, and then they have these guys they look up to. I'm like, oh God, I still have to take another step to get to that level.
It's amazing because we're all learning, right? Like there's so many things that I've never tried. I'm learning so much as we're doing it, and the important thing is that like you just get into it and start doing it, right? And like start experimenting, and you know, it's really impressive for me actually to see you guys, like all three of you guys, you know, like just getting into Gunpla, really in what the last couple months kind of thing.
Half a year,
yeah, exactly, right? In half a year. And to be doing what you guys are doing, like that's amazing. Like it's mind-boggling, you know.
Like probably because like nowadays, I mean, the resources are bundled. It's not like the OGs we listened to Patrick's story last week. Like when he first started, he has to do clippings of the magazines. You know, he has to like literally go out and buy or subscribe to a magazine.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's
I mean, I'm pretty sure you did that too. Like newspaper cutouts, magazines. You know,
yeah,
you have to
it
go
was
to
crazy.
Events. Exactly.
That's right.
But
yeah, nowadays, like scribers and stuff is so much more easier to come by. Like you said, you know, like it's so much more available.
Exactly, but still,
real quick, guys. I just want to say hi to everybody in the chat. So, for example, Nicholas Tejada's there, Ariel, we got Lloyd, we got Gaming. Everybody's kind of like messaging. Even my mom's there. Hi, mom. Hola, ma.
Oh, hola, mami.
Hola, mama.
Hi. But for example, Nicholas Tejada, he said to you, He said, "I'm a huge fan of your entry for GBWC 2018." So this is the champion.
Oh,
Yeah, he's really.
thank you.
I love that guy.
Champions are such humble guys, dude. Like you guys are so humble.
Like, seriously, we gotta do the hands down thing. The hands down.
You know
Yeah,
what,
hands
man?
down.
Like we're no. We're all human beings, and we're all on this Gunpla journey together, man. Like it's we're I don't know.
That's like another reason why we were able to do this show so fast is because like all the OGs accepted us so fast and like we're answered all our questions with like no hesitation. So that's why we're like, man, we gotta help build this more. So that's why we kind of like started the show as well with,
I think that's great.
Speaking of which, what has been your favorite kit to build up until now before customization? So which one has been your favorite to just straight build, right? So like
Straight
a clean
build. Great question.
You can only choose one.
Oh man.
You know,
I since I started customizing and painting, I really like kind of what I call like lazier builds, like builds that are like either pre-colored or have like gold coating on them, so I don't have to like do anything. Like for example, probably one of my favorite kits to build. I didn't want to spend all the money on the PG unicorn, so I got.
I knew
it. Unicorn. I'm sorry, man. I know you're not a fan of the unicorn.
None of us are.
But it was my first gold-plated kit, right? It was my first gold-plated
it's
kit.
a Phoenix.
You know?
Yeah, the Phoenix.
Yeah, it's a Phoenix. Yeah. And so the reason why that was so enjoyable is because you literally just clip the nubs off. You can't really sand it, right? Unless you like strip all the gold paint and then like repaint everything. I actually haven't built that one yet, but I do want to build that one.
The Barbatos?
I haven't built the Barbatos.
Oh, come on, guys, please.
I gotta build it.
Tell him, Justin. Please.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'll whisper into him in a frequency wave that was stuck in his head. Like I'll whisper. I'll send you a message later on, and then you listen to it. You'll be hypnotized. You're gonna start doing it.
Yeah, but I was, I don't know. Like it was such an enjoyable build because I did that like right after, an intent, like my Kshatriya build, right? That was the first build I built right after that. So it was just so nice to be able to like snap it up and keep it snapped up and not have to take it apart and stuff, it was, that's probably why I feel like I probably would have loved any kit after I did that intensive Kshatriya build, right? Just because you can kind of see it, I still decaled it and stuff like that, right?
It's a beautiful build.
Yeah, it's like
it's a masterpiece, dude. Like you don't even understand. Like that's like I expressed this to you yesterday. It's one of my favorite kits and one of my favorite like designs.
Oh, you mean the Kshatriya or the Phoenix?
No, the Phoenix. I don't like the unicorn, dude. I don't.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Bandai's like, here. Oh, you haven't seen this kit? It's a unicorn. You want it? You want it?
Special announcement.
No,
we have a new kit.
It's gold. No, I'm just kidding.
We made a chrome unicorn.
With the way Justin is going on YouTube, soon enough we'll be able to contact Bandai personally and just talk to him about.
That's right.
Getting
like Bandai. Relax. With the unicorn. Come on, give it a break.
Yeah, like where is it? Like why? No, the Kshatriya is like one of my favorites. Like when we first saw it on Unicorn, right? My wife and I, like when we first saw it on Unicorn, we were like, damn, this is such a beautiful model. But they don't want to make a master grade, which is understandable. It's all the plastic. I get it.
Right.
Nah, they can do it, man.
Yeah,
I want to throw money at you. You just give it to me. Give it to me.
No, he gave you unicorn instead.
With all the moving parts.
I know. I love when I first saw it too. I was like blown away. I was like, "Whoa, this is so cool!" Like the four binders, like just look so unique, and like it still kind of like you can still tell it's like a mono eye suit, right? Well, it is a mono eye suit, right?
It is, yeah.
And like I just love like Marita Cruz. Like she's like one of my favorite pilots.
Oh
right?
yes, pilots.
Yeah, I love her story. I love her character, and so everything just like jived together, right? So. But funny story though, hey, because I built that Kshatriya, right? The Kshatriya repaired. That's the kit I used actually. Not the original Kshatriya, but I built the Kshatriya repaired, and like I had it sitting like right by my dresser, nighttime, and I just had it posed with those like wing binders up and everything, and I had it sitting there for probably like 2-3 months, And then at the time, I was actually planning on working on a different kit. I was planning on working on the HG Hazel. And I was going to make the HG Hazel, give them like gigantic arms, like the gigantic arms unit of the HG Hazel. And I was like working for probably 3 months on that kit. And then like But yeah, during the time working on that kit, the Kshatriya was always on my nightstand. And every time I would just like look at it, I'd be like, man, this is such a beautiful kit. And then so I totally abandoned my HG Hazel project.
You jumped in.
Like this is literally 3 months into it, and then I just jumped straight into the Kshatriya. I'm like, I'm just gonna work on this, right?
Yeah.
And then as I kept on working, I just loved it more. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make this my entry, you know. So it's kind of funny how that kind of came to me. But I never thought of doing it from the get-go. So yeah.
You gotta go with your instincts.
For like GBWC, do you actually plan to go in, or was it just like a spur of the moment or something?
Great question. So I'm gonna like later on when I share about kind of my Gunpla journey, I'll kind of explain that as well too.
Okay.
But
sure.
yeah. But yeah,
Well,
stay tuned, everyone. Stay tuned.
Because I completed. Yeah, exactly. We'll lead into that. So yeah.
So right here we have some pictures that you actually sent.
Yeah.
To
The
first one here. You want to start?
Yeah, I got it. Boom.
Okay. Yeah. So purposefully, I wanted to show my first 3 builds that I ever tried to paint, you know. And so I mentioned earlier on when I was 9 years old, I got my first kit, right? And then after that, it was like probably 20 years after that, or not 20, sorry, maybe like 15 years, like 12, 15 years, when I didn't build any Gunpla at all. And then finally, when I went to university, you know, I started watching animes again, and that's when I started watching Gundam Seed, and I was like, man, I love this. It's so cool. Yeah, I know, Chris. We were talking about that yesterday. And then, so I bought like every HG Seed kit that I could get my hands on at the time.
Yeah.
And then and so at the time, I was like, you know, I'm older now. Well, no, they're HG, so they're cheaper, right? But at the time, I was like, man, if I build this time, I want to do kind of a little bit more than just snapping it together, right? Like, I kind of want to maybe do a little bit of detail painting, right? At the time, I didn't even have nippers. Like, I don't even think nippers were around at the time, you know? I honestly used nail clippers, you know? And I know everyone laughs at that now, right? Yeah, I used
like the second person to use that. I mean, the first thing.
Oh, really?
Here was
Yeah.
So nippers is not so nippers are a new thing. They haven't always been around.
Yeah. Well, not when I started building like these HG kits. Like they weren't, or at least I didn't know about it because Amazon wasn't around.
Yeah.
You know, YouTube, there was no YouTube. Like literally, no one would teach you or show you things. You know, so I had no idea, right? And then so I remember going to one of my friend's houses, and he was really into Gundam, and he's from Hong Kong, right? And so I remember looking at his Gundams, and I was like, "Wow, dude, how did you get that panel line? You know, and it's so beautiful, right?" And he's like, "Oh, there's these like Gundam pens that you can get." And at the time, I didn't get them, so I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna take like a brush." And exactly. I was like, I'm just gonna take a brush, and I'm just gonna like try to draw in those panel lines. So if you look really closely at this like Strike Rouge. Like the panel, like I showed a picture intentionally, show you how thick my panel line. That's with Tester's enamel paint, you know. And you can see nubs left, right, and center, right? In the head photo and also the lowest kind of photo with the beam cannon thing or whatever. That white part was all painted with like hand brush painted, you know. But obviously I didn't know anything about it at the time, right? That was my very first kit. I was like, I'm gonna paint because I want to try to do a little better, right?
Yeah.
And then you can show the next photo of the Gaia Gundam. So the next photo of Gaia Gundam, I was like, okay, after doing that first one, I'm like, I feel a little better, you know? So I started like, I didn't even know about masking, right? So I was just like, I'm going to paint a little bit more. But I was like, oh, this one turned out even better because it was all black, right? So I didn't have to panel line half of it, right? And then so once again, like the chest, like detail area, I like hand painted as well too. At the time, like I was like 18 years old or whatever, like 19. I thought it was like the best looking thing in the world, you know? And like, to me back then, I was like, man, like, so like from just snap building to like painting these little details, I like had so much fun with it. And like, and finally, like my crown achievement at the time was kind of like the dual Gundam. Yeah. So that's the next one there. And I remember like, the kit came with stickers, I think, and I was like, I'm not gonna use any stickers except for like the eyes.
I'm a customer.
I was like, I'm gonna paint it. I'm gonna paint all those orange parts. So like my like most proudful moment of that time was when I painted in those like orange thrusters, you know, on the leg part. And I felt so good about it. I was like, oh, I know, I'm gonna paint the orange first, and then I'm gonna go over it with black to like make those lines extra crisp, you know. So like at that time, I was already trying to like, you know, customize even more, right? And then you know, so that was kind of beginning of university. I was like, wow, this is amazing. But then after that, I like stopped again, right? So I stopped building Gundams, right? just because life got in the way, I started dating,
Exactly. I knew you were gonna say that. I don't know why, but somehow in my
Look
mind,
how good looking he is. Come on, man, girls.
No.
Come on,
No,
man.
she's awesome. Like she's always been so supportive, right? But like, you want to focus on the relationship and everything, and like that's when I started working too, right? And then we got married, and then we had kids, right? And then after having our second kid, that's when I was like, hey, I used to love doing Gundams. Like I remember like loving it, right? And I still had my like Testors enamel like dried up paint bottles, and paint brushes and stuff that I use. But I remember looking at those every day, and I'd be like, man, I want to get back into this someday, right? So it just so happened that we went to Japan that one year. I forgot when. I think it was like 2000 and like, I don't know, 2009 or something or whatever. And then I was like, okay, I'm in Japan. I'm in like the Gundam Mecca. I have to buy myself a kit, right? So like I like went to a random store and I bought like, I was like, I didn't even know much about HG, MG, and PGs. I literally like went up to the shop owner and I was like, what's your like nicest Gundam, right? And then it was like, oh, a PG, right? And I was like, oh, nice.
The $600 Phoenix.
Right? Yeah, no, I didn't get the Phoenix. It wasn't even out there.
Yeah, probably.
I remember I got the PG Zeta Gundam.
Oh, nice.
And so I was like, I want a big boy, I want a big, like, if I paint, I want to like paint my first one to be a big one, And then so I remember hauling that kit all the way back to Canada, right? And then at the time, I didn't have an airbrush setup or anything like that, so I just knew like spray cans, to me as spray cans, right? And so at the time, I was like, man, like I want to learn how to do it properly, Like I heard that you got to prime a little bit, I heard you got to like sand nubs and stuff, right? So that's when I started like going on YouTube, and that's when I started like looking at online tutorials. That's where I found all these like OG modelers. I remember at the time looking at Toy Maker's page and like blog, and I was like, dude, this guy is next level, man. He like scratches these lines in plastic, and like he adds like, I don't even know how he does these things, right? And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like start by painting. And so at that time, I like looked up, did all my research, and learned like, okay, you want to sand your parts and do all that kind of stuff. So I spray painted the Zeta PG Gundam, and I had so much fun doing it, right? After doing that, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm hooked, man. Like I love painting Gundams and like customizing. And so that's when I started looking online. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get an airbrush. I'm gonna get a spray booth. I'm gonna, get all these things, right? And then and I started looking at more YouTube tutorials, right? And I started learning more and more. Like even started doing like water. For my PG Zeta, I knew I wanted water slides too. So that was another thing I learned too, right? And I was just having so much fun with it, right? But the funny thing is, I think that was in between my first and second daughter. So then we had our second daughter. So I bought all my like airbrush setups and stuff. But then we had our second daughter. And then I remember I just left the airbrush, like that's the spray booth back there, right? And then all these things, I just left it in my living room for probably like a year and a half. It was literally just sitting there. Dust was accumulating on it. I had all like the airbrush and everything, compressors and everything set up, or not set up, but like in a box, like right by that area. And I remember every time I was walking by it, I was like, I should really get to painting Gundams, right? I should really get to doing it. It was like so funny, right? So I think between then and like my next kit, it was probably at least 2 years, right? And then so I was like, you know what? I want to start building again, right? And I hear RG kits are amazing, right? It's like Justin, right? And then so my next kit, this is my first kit that I airbrushed with, with Mr. Color Paints, and this was my RG Quanta, right? And this one I wanted to do is clean. Actually, I'm a huge fan of like clean builds and stuff. So this one over here was my very first airbrush kit, and like I was like so kind of OCD with it, I was like each part I was like washing, each part I was like, I would prime so it's like, as perfect as I can do it, right? And then go from there. And I had so much fun doing this, right? And like this is my first RG that I built as well too, so I didn't realize how many parts it was to paint. So it probably wasn't the best project to start off with, right? Because the parts are so small, and like
RGs are not fun.
Yeah, I get you, bro. I started with Red as Stray, and it's so limping.
Yeah. Exactly.
The OG RGs, they are so limping.
Oh yeah.
Is it like this?
The RX-78 tattoo. Yeah. Like armor will be popping off of it,
Exactly.
Moving and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, it was probably not the best kit to start off with, right? But I learned so much from painting that, and like for the very first time in my life, in my Gundam like journey, I guess, right? I was like, wow, like this actually kind of looks like legit, you know, like I could kind of see this, you know. I also really love photography as well too. So like, you know, it was so much fun kind of taking these detailed shots of it, you know. But I was still, you know, I was still a noob. Like there's still a lot of stuff I didn't know at the time, but I learned so much from doing it, you know.
I mean,
and that's when I was kind of.
Yeah, my first airbrush kit doesn't look like that.
Yeah, like I was about to say, your first airbrush looks really nice. Like I'm doing my first airbrush right now, and I've only, I mean, you've seen my post, like I've only just primed, but I'm so scared.
But you're doing scribing and stuff too. Like that's crazy. Like that's a lot of techniques and skills to like, you know, put into one. But I mean, kudos to you for doing it. That's
sink or swim, man. Sink or swim.
It's on my Sazabi also, but we have another Sazabi coming in, so. It's fine.
He had to jump in.
Me, she's like, if you're gonna do it, just do it on the Sazabi. It's my favorite one. But my wife did tell me you cannot paint it any other color. It needs to stay red. That was the only thing she told me. She's like, you can paint it, just paint the different shades of red. But if you take away the red, I swear to God.
I swear to God. I'm filling the blanks yourself. Filling the blanks.
It's like you're getting a red Ferrari and painting it blue. You know, you gotta keep the Ferrari red.
I mean, like, seriously, I mean, your Gunpla itself. It's like I don't know, man. The paint itself is like it's so Japan. It's like I got a feeling of Japan. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's like Muji.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like a desaturated kind of
exactly
look to it, right?
Yep.
That's always kind of the look I've always been drawn towards. Like I just really like the more subtle kind of like coloration of things. You know, like
clean,
I don't like.
Natural.
Yeah, I like clean, exactly, right? Like, you know, I don't like colors that are too bright, you know, or at least contrasting colors, you know. And so I intentionally, you're right, I intentionally like made it desaturated, and in fact, I mixed a lot of like grays and whites into the original colors to like perfectly desaturate them, right? And so, so I mean, like it, you know, I was like, honestly, like after this build, I was so hooked onto it because I was like, man, At the same time, though, I didn't realize how much work actually goes into doing something like that. Like, even just painting, like, there's so much work that goes into it, you know? And so it also opened up a whole new door for me, realizing, like, wow, like, these modelers show these pictures, and it looks, like, amazing, but you don't realize, like, the amount of hours of work and effort that's put into it, you know? A lot of times you're like, oh, that's really nice, that's beautiful, right? But, like, if you actually were to like log the amount of time and effort you put into it, that's almost the perseverance is almost the most amazing thing to me about this hobby and about the people who do it. And that's why I feel like this community is so amazing, because everyone who like does it, I mean, you don't have to be painting either. I mean, even just like, I remember like before when I was thinking in my head, I was like, people actually sand and remove nubs? Like, wouldn't that take forever?
Oh my
God. I just remember thinking that, right? I was like, who does that? And like, I even remember thinking like, who builds their kit and then takes it apart and then rebuilds it to paint it and stuff?
Well, Kristen used to do that. Kristen used to do that.
No, I should just paint it.
Chris does. He's crazy, man. I love Chris, but he's crazy. I'm telling you, he's on another level. This guy, I remember we were talking about it once, us three. He's like, man, Justin, you take apart your kits and everything. He's like, I just paint them after I cut them out, and then I put it together. You know?
I put all the whites over here, all the blues over here, all the reds over here, and I just painted it.
I'm like, Chris, how do you do that? It's like, I don't know. I mean, like, do you look at instructions? No.
No, Chris is a monster, man. Chris is a monster.
Yeah.
I do look at the instructions when I put it together at the end.
Okay. So I'm gonna do another GTS exclusive tip section right now. If you guys want to learn how to put together a kit without an instruction book, buy yourself a PGX.
And good luck.
Because that's what Chris said. He said, like, dude, how do you do that? I mean, like, I don't know, man. Just right after the PGX, I just stopped using manuals altogether.
I mean, all the thigh pieces look the same. You know, all the calf pieces look the same. The shoulder looks the same.
Exactly.
Like, you start to like pick it up.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's amazing just by that.
I love you guys.
What can you say about the Sinanju? This little SD Sinanju you have over here.
Yeah. So this SD Sinanju, do you remember I was talking about Seth Tuna before?
Yes.
The amazing like painter. So I remember scrolling through because I got this SD Sinanju, or it's a Neo's Young kit, And so I remember like Sinanju and Neozeon, they're part of the same kit. I remember just looking up online. I'm like, oh, let's see what other people have done for painting. And I remember like stumbling upon Seth Tuna's page. That's how I started following him. And I was like, dude, this man's like, he's done a lot actually too, all different types of colors and stuff. And I remember like seeing his designs. I'm like, man, that bronze pattern on top of red looks so awesome, you know?
Yep.
And so that's when I started, that's when I was like, you know what? I want to try doing this, right? But like, obviously, like I had no idea what to do. So I was just like thinking in my head, like different ways, like, do I paint the red first and then I mask it and I paint the gold on top? That's what I ended up doing, right? Or do I paint the gold first, stick the tape on, and then paint the red over top, which is the smarter way of doing it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, but I didn't do it that way, right? So it's
You
kind
did
of funny,
reverse. Yeah.
In the second
Exactly,
picture,
right?
in the second picture over here, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see the second picture here. I painted the red first and I painted the top on top, or the gold on top. The reason why at the time I was thinking that way is because I was like, if I paint the gold on top, I was afraid it would affect the look of the red, you know? I was afraid that the gold pigments or whatever might look a little too grainy or whatnot, and it might give me a bad red finish to it, you know? Or the red might not adhere as well, right? But, you know, honestly, I would do it completely different nowadays, right? But what this taught me was like how to mask, right? Like this, because in this kit, like there's so SD kits, you have to mask so much. Actually, I didn't even show. Oh, another thing I learned from doing this was the reverse wash technique. Like, you know, that Neozeon logo with that black and the gold, you know? And so I didn't even show a picture, but the SD, so this is another thing, the SD Sinanju kit, I fully painted as well too. And I painted I did reverse wash on all the knee parts and also the chest parts. I spent so much time on that, right? Just doing it. But once again, I just wanted to learn that technique, right? So from this kit, I really learned how to do reverse wash and I learned how to mask. Like the masking was the biggest thing because there's so much like skill involved in that. And and it takes a long time. And once again, that's something that you don't really appreciate as much, right? Like when you see someone have this full resin figure and everything's molded into place, but when they paint it, it's like all these like gold, brass, like silver details. And then there's the gunmetal.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, right? And then for them to paint it so clean, it's like, wow. But then you realize they spent hours masking it before doing that. Like that was
a big pile of tape over here in the corner.
Yeah, exactly, right?
But I'm looking at your masking here on the second picture of the Sinanju or the Neozeon.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like if that's your first masking, if that's your first one, like that's what taught you, like you were telling me that I'm doing all of these things. You go over here and mask like the Da Vinci. Like what are you doing over here? Like these things going on.
My first mask, I just put like one piece of tape over it. And I was done.
I remember my first mask was the RG Unicorn. It was hell.
Oh, yeah, it's so tiny too.
It was hell. It was hell. But then because of the RG Unicorn, just like your Sinanju, SD Sinanju, it kind of like enlightens you. It's like somehow you just have that light bulb on your head, you know, like
exactly.
That's how you get better, like progressively.
Exactly.
Like, after that build, it's like boom, no more masking problem at all.
Totally. Yeah, because before doing this, I didn't know you have to pre-tape it onto your cutting board. Yeah, I just like would put a whole slab on top, and then I peel it off. Like, no, my paint is coming off.
It's like welcome to Jane's wax salon.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's so much that I learned about it, right? And like I feel like with every one of my builds, I try to learn something new. I try to incorporate something new. And this build is literally right after the Quanta build. Like these builds are in chronological order of I actually haven't done that many like custom builds before, right? But like so all the picture I'm showing is literally like a chronological order of what I've learned. You know?
Nice.
This next one over here is my very, very first. So this is a cool story actually. So like around the time I started following a bunch of YouTube channels, and like that's when I stumbled upon Zaku Aurelius. Like you guys have heard of Zaku Aurelius.
Everybody has heard of Zaku Aurelius.
Everybody.
Like who doesn't, right? And the cool thing is, I feel like around the time when he started dabbling with airbrush was also the same time when I started dabbling with airbrush. So it's actually really neat. Like I feel like I was kind of like he was a little bit ahead of me every step of the way, kind of thing. And so in 2017, to celebrate I think 30,000 subscribers, right? He held a custom Zaku contest. And so in this custom Zaku contest, you can take any Zaku kit as long as it's Zaku kit base and customize it however you want by adding details, by painting it differently, and then you submit it. It's a contest, right?
Mhm.
And so at the time I was like, oh man, I love this guy. I love Zaku Aurelius. I love his tutorial. I feel like, you know, we're so similar on our journey, you know, Gunpla journey, right? And so I'm like, I'm gonna like totally compete in this, right? And so immediately, like, I love the Zaku F2 kit. It's such a beautiful kit. It's awesome, especially for its time. And so this is my very first time doing any sort of like kit bashing, scribing, and any type of customization. Well, customization beyond painting, of course, right? Because painting is customization too, right? And so here, for example, like I made the that Gatling beam saber gun thing, you know.
Yep.
You made that?
Yeah. Well, it's out of like 5 different kits. Like I assembled it all together, kind of thing.
Ooh.
And like I didn't show a picture of the work in progress, right? But like the Gatling gun is one part, right? The beam gun is just this regular beam gun, and then the ammo pack is from like the kit and stuff like that. And there's like 2 more small components that I added onto it, kind of thing. Like another scope I added.
And wait, Ryan, you're saying that all this is in order?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's chronological.
Yeah. So
Dude, you jump, man. You didn't walk. You didn't run.
He's like,
He's like, fuck crawling. I'm just gonna start running.
No.
My mom, Ryan. My mom said that your kids are beautiful, man.
No, it's
your mom's so sweet.
no, it's like Ryan is like people take baby steps and then they start crawling and then walking and then running. Dude, you straight up took the bus, bro.
No.
You took the
You know
bus.
what I have to say like I do a lot of like research and I do try to like learn as much as I can before I actually do something. You know, like for example, if I try to learn how to scribe, I'm watching like all the videos I can to teach me how to scribe. Actually, nowadays there's a lot more videos teaching you how to scribe than there were when I like back 3-4 years ago, kind of thing. But even then, there were a lot of guides, and in fact, a lot of scribers that I use today weren't even made back then. You know, and so you know, but I do a lot of like research into it before jumping into it. You know, like so I'm not just like, here's a scriber. I'll just give it a test try, kind of thing, right? I mean, of course I test try on test pieces, kind of thing, but I've already kind of seen like all the gurus how they do it and kind of learn it that way. So and what I tend to do a lot is I like replay things in my head a lot. Like for example, like this custom Zaku, I was like before even gluing 2 pieces together, I would have thought of like 10 different combinations or ways that might be good, or I would draw it out or something, you know. So I feel like a lot of it like it's just in my mind a lot. Like it also takes me a really long time to build too. Like I'm not like I definitely can't crank out a build in like a week or 2.
Like
probably
Justin
takes
over
me
there,
like
Justin's crazy.
yeah,
dude.
like Justin and Chris, right? I'm just not that talented.
For everyone out there who watches Justin's YouTube channel, because who doesn't nowadays? That hair is a result of all the long nights he spends without any sleep, just working on kits. Because sometimes he'll be like, "Oh man, I haven't slept like in 4 days."
No,
But his power. He gets his power from his hair.
Like, but it's like this is my like Super Saiyan. Something.
That's awesome. Before you become Super Saiyan.
But seriously,
you're gonna dye yellow.
Like this is a tip that I would like to give everybody. Like, excuse me, Jess. Sorry. This is a tip I want to give everybody about your hair. No, I'm just joking.
I'm like, whoa.
No, I'm serious. Okay, so it's about learning. I mean, if you're learning, like what Ryan said, I think I really believe right now, like starting to know Ryan more and more, I believe that me and Ryan, we are very much alike because we do a lot of mental practice.
Yes.
He's married.
I'm down.
I know. I'm married too. Yeah. I've got a kid too, bro. so no matter what, I mean, like we saw a video, and then we see 2 videos, and then we see 3 videos, and then we kind of practice in our mind, and apply it to our situation as well.
Yes.
And then it's like I know I watched this documentary when I was really young. It's about mental learning. I mean, like with your mental power, you can even train your body to become more muscular, even without going to the gym or just tricking your mind into that concept itself that you are healthy, you are happy, or you are muscular, or whatever. It kind of helps a little bit. Or at least
it definitely does.
Head start.
Yeah.
right? So
Right
I'm
mentality,
thinking like when Ryan said that, I'm like, oh yeah, I do that a lot. I mean, like I watch masking tutorial, I watch this tutorial, and then when I go back to when I went back to sleep at night, then I started thinking like, dude, I should do this, I should do that. You know, this is how I should do it. Like, okay,
That's
kid
right.
batch, I got what, and then I'll piece them together in my mind, and then that's how you get to work fast. That's how you get to work like
exactly.
Like really.
That's how you improve. That's how you improve. I feel in greater leaps and bounds is like because your mind, you're always thinking of all these different scenarios. That's I guess that's the way we're wired too, right? Like sometimes like we're just constantly thinking of different scenarios, you know, and different approaches, right? And different like do you remember how I was telling you how I had my kshatriya on my night dresser kind of thing? One habit I like to do is like when I'm working on a kit, I actually like to bring it up. And my wife can attest to it. I like to bring my kit up and put it right beside my dresser at nighttime.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, you do the same thing?
I promise you, I sleep when I build my Jesta, slept next to when I build my
like I'm not like hugging it to sleep or anything.
Oh,
no,
that Jesta.
No, you guys are not the same anymore.
yeah, we're not the same anymore. But you know, I like to look at it a lot. Like I like to look at it at many different angles, you know, and like sometimes it's like admiring the scribe that you did, for example. But a lot of times it's kind of thinking of different ways of like, okay, well, you know, like this area looks bare. How can I like change it up, right? Or like, or even just looking at it so much that you get in like kind of get a general view. So even when you close your eyes, you can see the kit, you know,
exactly,
and then you can kind of imagine different areas as part of it, kind of thing. The more you look at something, it's kind of like when you draw a picture, right? Like when you first draw it, you're like, oh, this picture looks so good. But when you go back to go look at it the day after, you're like, whoa, what happened to the nose? Like that's so messed up, right? Like, how did I do that? Right? Or like, oh, that. Yeah, right? It's like that color's so off, right? And like, so I feel like that whole mental kind of work. I mean, I don't know. I could be like, you know, fantasizing too much about Gunpla and stuff, but like, I feel like that really has helped me in my journey. So.
It's a self-learning technique that we learn that we learn in school as well. Like especially during history lessons. Right before the test, I would have all the main points that I would study.
That's right.
Stick it to my door. Stick it to my door.
That's right. Exactly.
And then every time
cue cards and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So every time I'm doing my hair, it takes a while to do it. I will have some time to glance over, you know.
Yeah.
And then
he uses his brush and
like
and it's even written on his brush, so he's like,
So it's like subconsciously you are learning, you know. Subconsciously you are noticing stuff. Right. This is all this like guys like all Ryan is talking about is like a learning technique that you guys can really get into. Not only apply them on Gunpla, but apply them in your studies if you're still in school.
That's right.
Apply it in your job or learning a new skill or whatever.
That's right.
All this kind of stuff works. It works.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Totally. I totally believe in it, and like I've used that all the time, you know, and so so with this build, you know, like that's where, you know, so that's where this is my first time scribing as well too. Like my first time scribing, just minor details. Once again, I didn't want to go overboard because I knew I wasn't that good, right? So I wanted to like focus on just simple details, right? I remember it being super hard and learning to make it as clean as I can. That was around the time when I was like Joshua Dara, you know, that name I was telling you about, you know, I was like, man, just admiring that guy's work and like, man, this guy's so amazing in making his clean scribes. So I just wanted to make it as clean as possible, as precise as possible, as best as I can. So the amazing thing, I actually won that competition.
Ooh.
So that was like my first ever like win, you know, of really, pretty much like of anything like really that big kind of thing, right? And and it was such a crazy feeling. Like I remember waking up that morning and then he posted the winner's announcement video, right? And then I was like waiting. He would show like the kind of the runner-ups, right? And they were all amazing models. And then he would say who were the third place winner, second place winner, and then finally like, and the grand winner, right? And it's like Ryan Lau, and I was like, what? This is crazy, right? Like he said my name, right? Like, right? And like he gave like an amazing prize too, and just a great guy.
What did he give you?
So nice. He's a really good, down to earth man, and like just a great, passionate modeler, right? So, but that was what really sparked my interest in customizing, right? At that point on, I was like, wow, I might be able to do this. Like, to backtrack a little bit, I remember watching just YouTube videos, and I remember seeing like the 2015 GBWC competition. Actually, Joshua Dara did a YouTube video about his experience there. I remember watching it, and then I was like, wow, what is this GBWC thing? I didn't even know about it. And I started watching like back to 2013, there was a competition then. And I was like, wow, this is like the best thing in the world. Like, these amazing builders gathering together, just a celebration of Gunpla. And look at these like wicked models, right? I was like, wow, this would be amazing to like, I didn't even think of competing at the time. I was like, I just want to like be there when the competition occurs. Cause I just want to like,
it's like our Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's like our Super Bowl. I just wanted to celebrate, right? And I was like, wow, this Gundam base area looks so amazing. Like, I just want to be be attending it, like visualize, like watch it, right? And then so at the time too, like North America was the contestant who would go. Canada and US were two separate, were combined together, right? And Canada didn't have a separate thing. I know US had like tons of amazing modelers, right? So I never even thought, didn't even know Canadians can participate in it. And then finally in 2017, they announced Canada is going to be one of the countries that can compete in it. So I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like, this is shortly after I won this competition, right? The custom hockey contest. And so I was like, dude, Canada can be a representative? Like, oh, I want to be part of it, right? And then so at the time, there were like, no, I wasn't part of any Gunpla community, you know? Nowadays, shout out to Side 6, Gunpla Facebook group, right? They're the Southern Ontario Gundam modeling group. Edmonton, Gunpla Builders, that's my hometown, right? And then Calgary, Gunpla community, that's where Jess from, right? And then Vanpla, right, from Vancouver. They're actually they are the biggest and probably the first Gunpla group in Canada, right? So over that course of that year, I like slowly connected with these groups, right? And I was like, my first question was like, when's GBWC entries due, right? I was like, anyone know an info about GBWC, right? Because I was like really into it. And I didn't realize how many people were into the hobby, right? And that was so amazing. And so for that year, I decided to build my GM Sniper 2, which is like the one that Justin just built. Yeah. So you can see my entry. That's my 2017 GBWC entry. You know?
Beautiful.
And then so I painted it into the white dingo colors, right? So later on, you can kind of see, like, you can see the second photo of like some more details of like the chest details and stuff like that. That's my very first.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, right. And I used the chest. Actually, you'll see later on closer. You can look at the next photo too. You can see I took before and after shots of the kit.
Yep.
And so you can see all the mods that I did on it. It was my very first time kind of gluing plot plate onto the model, right? I've never done it before, right? My first time, in your next photo, you can see it too. You can see my chest mods, right? Like I did like, basically, yeah, like those mechanical reveal details in the chest area. I basically scribed like a slot in there, and I just glued a bunch of like details that I got from guns. Like that's where like all my old kits came, all my HG seed kits, you know. I took those guns and whatever circular details or pistons that I saw, I would cut those out and I would glue it together, kind of thing, onto the chest, right? That white piece on the chest is from the unicorn, the MG unicorn shoulder part, you know. And so I cannibalized my MG unicorn kit actually.
Good.
It's like our builds are so similar because you do felt like the chest is a bit flat, isn't it?
Oh yeah, totally. The chest it was too straight down. And like
exactly.
I just needed some more bulk to it, you know.
Exactly. And I added money from the fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly, right. And I felt like if I didn't add to the chest, the shoulders would be too big and too like, imposing kind of thing. So I wanted to bulk it up a little bit, right? I also added those two like little vent details underneath the chest area on either side of the.
Oh, dude, you just gotta leave those press, man. You gotta push the press.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then so I really wanted to do like more mechanical reveals. Like I wanted to, you know, so in the leg part, I wanted to open up some of those panels, right? And then I added some colored runners to make it look like, you know, wires hanging through, you know, kind of thing. You know, once again, I spent a lot of time like drawing it out. The arm detail in the next one, you know, like I was trying to do some more mechanical reveals in the arm part, right?
Yeah,
and then so that was my first time doing like mechanical reveals and like more detail to make it look more. Once again, this is like I wanted to make a suit look more mechanical, you know, like with actual like panels that you would imagine that would actually open up and show up all this detail.
I remember like a while ago. Well, actually, not even a while ago, like 2 months ago, before we even started on the show.
Yeah.
I was talking to Justin back when he was a little guy, and I was a little guy still, and I still am a little guy. I was talking to him. I'm like, hey, you know what? I saw this video on YouTube of open hatch builds. I'm like,
Right.
I'm really into this.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
for the OdaFest that was sadly canceled here in Calgary because of the whole COVID business, my first build, which is a Sazabi, like not my first build, but my first custom build, that's what I really wanted to go for. So that's why I'm scribing it, because I do want to do open panels and do little pistons.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what I really
I love
wanna
that
do.
stuff.
Like that's the kind of stuff that I'm more into than just painting. I really want to add like that kind of detail because I'm an engineer, right? And I like looking at
cool.
things. So
Exactly.
So it's kinda
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm just trying to make it more realistic. And I'm looking at your picture here, your last pictures of your dingo. The base. Like, how did you? Did you buy those pieces? How did you?
Yeah.
Get to
So
that?
this base. Okay. So looking back at that photo, this base is actually comes with the MG Mark II Gundam, the 2.0 version, and that base actually comes with the kit. So a couple of funny things I did with this is I moved. Actually, I think interesting enough, Nicola actually used the same base in his last year GBWC build. You know, he like decked it out and stuff, right? But like, yeah, it's this base that I used, but I modified it by adding some railings. I actually moved the mechanical arm from the front to the back because I didn't want that front mechanical arm to block my suit, right?
Yeah.
And then in a lot of my pieces, I like using the scaled figures, you know, so you can kind of get a sense of the scale of this robot, you know, as opposed to just looking at it and being like, oh, it's a robot. But then when you look at the human, you're like, wow, that, you know, I can see a little human being there. And then it kind of draws you into that scene kind of thing.
Yes, those
exactly right.
Details.
In fact,
the reason why I messaged Nico was because of his little guys on his pictures.
Yeah.
Like, hey, where'd you get those guys? And I finally have some hanger guys. So, I mean, those are really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been trying to get hanger guys forever, but it's just so out of stock constantly.
Yeah, everyone loves them. Yeah, they make it for HG size and MG size, you know.
Yep.
And they're like, it's so cool, right? You just add them to dioramas, and they really bring things to life, right? And so, in fact, that's actually one of my beliefs, you know, in making kind of like a build, you know, at least a competitive build, right? Is like, you want to first like draw the person's attention with something kind of radical. Okay, so I didn't end up winning first place this year. You know, Simon ended up winning first place. He's an amazing model. You guys should interview him actually. Like, I'll give you info about him later.
Yeah, hook us up.
Simon made an amazing. Yeah, I'll connect you with him. But he's probably one of my favorite modelers in Canada actually. So shout out to you, Simon. But anyways, but like, so this year I won third place actually in Canada. So I was like, wow, this is amazing. I got a trophy. Like, I was like really blown away. I was so happy, you know? And then I told myself, I was like, you know what? I'm going to compete the next year, right? Because I'm like hooked, right? I love building these diorama builds now, you know? And then so my thought process and idea all along is that you always want to spend as much time on your kit, on your base, as you do on your kit. You know, a lot of times people spend all this time making this amazing kit, but then they're like, oh, I only have like a week left. I'm just going to put together a base, you know? And then there's a huge mismatch between the quality of the kit and the base, you know? And so you always want to put as much detail and time and attention to your base as you do to your kit. But not only that, is you want to make this whole presentation, you want to have something that can like grab and wow the viewer, you know? Like if you're just browsing through all these pictures of kits, you're like, okay, seen there, been there, done that. So my one criticism with this build is that like when you first look at it, you're like, oh, it's just you know, Gundam hanging around, like no pun intended. He's literally just hanging out, right? And like, but if you can get something that can grab the attention of the viewers, you know, then that's when they start looking at it closer and they're like, wow, look at those details, right? Because if you don't catch them in the first place, they're gonna miss all the details, right? But if you get their attention in the beginning with something cool, the reason why I'm explaining this later is because I'll show you in my Kshatriya build what I like, my thought process behind it. If once you grab their attention with something that wows them, they start inspecting the model more. That's when they start looking at the details, right?
Exactly.
And then when they start looking from top to bottom, they start seeing even more details appear to them. That's when a model or when a piece kind of displays more as you're looking to it, that's where the beauty comes, you know? Like when you start examining it more, you're like, oh wow, look at the chest details, and you start going down, oh wow, look at that little dude like pushing these things, like, oh wow, like I just love so that's kind of my, like, usually people are like, oh, how do you do competition builds, like how do you approach it, right? Like that's my biggest recommendation. First is spend as much time on your base as you do on your model. Secondly is you want to think of something that can wow the person first, and then you of course want to detail everything, right? And then that will kind of draw their initial attention to it. And then as they examine it, you slowly reveal more details. That's the beauty of it, right?
So then we get into your champion here.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was just saying, like, so this is like, so I started like, because I love the Kshatriya, and I was always thinking in my head, I was like, okay, well, I know the Kshatriya. You see the Kshatriya repaired a little bit in the anime, right? I'm like, wouldn't it be so cool if you made like a Kshatriya that was in between the Kshatriya and the Kshatriya repaired, And then when I started researching more, I'm like, there is one, and it's called the Kshatriya Besarang. That's like when it was like kind of in between, And then so I was like, dude, I'm gonna like totally do that, right? And so with this build, I like started detailing. You can see with this one, I implemented all my previous knowledge, like the mechanical reveals and stuff, like in the hip area. Right. And then like you can see I posted some photos of like my work in progress. You can go to the bread clip one too, actually. The bread clip one, I got this idea from like, I think Twitter or Instagram from a modeler. They like cut up bread clips. So I told my wife to save all our bread clips for like the next year. So she had this huge, that's nice. So she had this huge stash of it.
So you had so you had like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You had 6 breads in a year.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I didn't know how many bread clips I would need or how many I would destroy, right? Because I like probably wasted a lot before I got the 6 good ones, But it was funny. I remember one day my wife was like, "Hey, at Safeway, they actually just have a whole box of bread clips for you to grab." I was like, "Did you grab the whole thing?" She's like, "No."
Wait, you didn't really?
I was like, "You should have grabbed." Yeah, like there's areas where you can just get like a bag, like your bagels, and then they just have bread clip for you to grab, and you just like. Yeah, man, and so we didn't end up doing that.
Yes, you sounded like you.
My wife's been saving them for me. I told her because I saw this idea somewhere, and she has like 10 of them already, and I'm using them on my. If you can just grab them by the hand.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. And different bread clips might look differently too. So I wanted to see like what are all the different types that I can use, right? So and depending on the angle you cut them, but anyways, that's kind of a funny side story. So But she was awesome, like saving all our bread clips, and but little things like that, or even like slide 22, you'll see later. Like this is my first time trying an extension of armor, like gluing a plot plate onto it, cutting it off, so it has. So when I paint it, it has that really cool kind of extra detail there, right? So no scribing's needed. You just literally need to glue it and then sand it smooth, right, and make it look nice and sharp, right? And so. The next one, 23, is kind of like when I cut these armor panel reveals out and then add more detail. That's such an easy, it takes time, right? Don't get me wrong. Like these mods and scribing does take a long time, but it's kind of it's an accomplished way to be able to do it. Sometimes people look at it as like, wow, did they how did they add all that detail in there? Well, you just kind of scribe and cut it out.
Exactly. A lot of people thought that you literally have to use tweezers and then glue into them like a surgeon. But actually, this is a reverse way to do it because you're not gonna see the backside forever.
That's right. Yeah.
So
exactly,
you can cheat a little bit in that department.
Yeah, that's right. And then so on the next slide too, you can see for the Lig mod, right? So like my first time, I was just like, I'm just gonna ultra detail this thing out, but still make it kind of look realistic, right? So like gluing like plot plates and stuff, and like adding scribing around that rounded area was really, really hard. So once again, I learned a new technique of doing it. Nowadays they actually make scribers that you can run along the edge, and it helps you scribe in a.
I've been looking to get one of those.
No, actually, there's a trick. There's a trick.
Yeah, you can actually make it yourself.
Or you use an X-Acto knife.
Yeah, I take an X-Acto blade and I glue it on a plot plate, and then so this is the edge of the X-Acto knife, and then the plot plate is straight. So then
if you scribe it along.
Yeah, you just kind of go around very lightly. You just need to make the indent, and then you very lightly kind of go around, kind of thing, and then you can detail it up. So that's where I first learned it. That was before that edge scriber came, actually.
You're gonna have to teach me that later.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. Yeah, but this is also my first time scribing because the GM kit that I did before, the GM Sniper 2, it was like flat and angular, right? So the surfaces are relatively easier to scribe on. Kshatriya is rounded, similar with your Sazabi, right?
Yep.
So it's actually tricky.
Difficult, man. Yeah.
It's very tricky. So one trick. I don't know if anyone else does it, but I like to do it, is I grow my thumb fingernail out, and I actually sand the edge of it so it's flat. So I use that to actually brace against the tape, and then it holds the tape in place, and I scribe along that line there, you know. But when my fingernail is longer, I can actually hold down and brace the tape so it stays in place. Because if you just tape it on the rounded surface, you just tape it on the rounded surface, then it can just, the tape will just pop right out. You know,
it will just slide as you go, and then you realize that, oh shit.
You'll be like, exactly.
You'd be like,
I did that.
I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. Or sometimes what I found is like if the piece is really tiny, I put like a sticky tack underneath the piece, so there's more I can grab onto, and then it's easier for me to keep my thumb fingernail there while I'm bracing the tape to like scribe down it. You know, so that's.
You know, I'm so sorry, but when you said your fingernail thing, I thought you're gonna grow it long, and then you don't even need pedal lining tape anymore. You're just gonna hold it.
I'm just like.
On the chat, Mecha Painter says, "Lol, Ryan, I don't know if anybody else does this. Nobody does that." And
Exactly.
I know.
Nobody
it's just,
does that, man.
You know, that's just what I do. I'm sorry.
It works. So long as it works. As long as it works.
The reason why Ryan is a champion, one of the reasons is because he modifies his body so that he can modify kids.
That's the secret. I modify my body before I modify my Gunpla.
Yeah,
exactly.
Guys, no more excuses that you don't have the tools. You have your fingernail at your disposal.
Yeah.
So
that's all you need is a thumbs up. You can do it. Thumbs up.
Now, I'm going to ask, how did you get these rings on? I think it's on slide 26. Sorry to. Slide 26.
So it's cool.
The rings are hard.
Great question. So because this is the Kshatriya repaired, right? They actually had a lot of extra parts for the actual full Kshatriya. So there's actually many vents that were for the 4, because this one only has 2 binders, right? The normal Kshatriya has 4 binders. So the vents for the 2 other binders that weren't part of this kit, those circular details were still part of it. So what I did is I actually sanded that piece down until I just got the outer and the inner ring. Because if you look at it, that ring is like, there's an outer ring and an inner ring, and when I sand the bottom enough, I get 2 rings. You know? And then so I use that.
That's really clever.
Yeah, so I use that bigger ring as a circular detail, and then I just cut a plot plate in there, and it looks like, this looks like the elbow joint of the RX-78-2.
It looks amazing.
The little ring with the line going through. Yeah.
That's right. And
it's on the leg of the GM as well. The ankle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Exactly, right? And so, because that, before it was just bare, it was nothing. So it was really ugly to look at, you know? But I was like, oh, just add this detail. When you prime everything up, you're going to love it. The next slide you're going to love, Jess, because I know you love the Barbatos. So the next one here, this is the leg. So the original leg is like a peg leg. It looks really ugly, right?
Yeah, it does.
And so I was like, oh, I love the foot of the Rex, you know?
I love the foot.
And so I bought the HG Rex. Yeah, I love the foot, right? The 2, like, so I bought the foot of the HG Rex. Now, if you look at slide 28, you'll see the calf area. Do you recognize that calf area?
Is that his chest?
That is the chest of the HG Barbatos lupus.
It's the chest, and then the back is exposed, isn't it?
That's right. And so I remember looking at it. So this is one of the things that, you know, I was telling you before, like when I put it by my nightstand and I'm just looking at things, you know, I was like, man, I love that chest of the, you know, all the IBO kits, you know, their chest is so detailed, so beautiful. And then one day it just came to me. I was like, dude, what if I just added that as a calf muscle? No, I'm like, I don't even need to do anything about it. And it just looks so good, you know? I literally didn't do anything to it. I just glued it together, removed some seam lines, and then closed up some of the open areas. But like pretty much it's exactly, like you can even see the holes where you would peg in like the armor part, right? But I was like, that's mechanical detail, right?
Justin, just like you would say, hands down right there, man. I would have never
thought.
No. Like that is.
No.
Wow.
No,
like
no.
I never.
I'm gonna make the chest piece the calf muscle. Like really? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Seriously,
amazing.
like on the show, we get so many amazing people, and then I think we just need to like choreograph a hands down routine or something.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
No, man, no. You guys
Seriously.
are so funny. And then that little canister thing on the side is like from the gun of the unicorn. So once again, cannibalize the unicorn, the MG unicorn.
Good.
And
Do
so-
it every time.
My banshee's about to die. I'm about to kill my banshee.
Now, may
And
I
then the
ask?
next, yeah.
Before we go on, may I ask? Because I am very, very in love with the concept of using these nomadic, like kind of like cables, because that's
Yes.
what they are, right?
Yeah,
and
that's
I want
right.
to.
I love that.
I want to add some to my Sazabi
Yeah.
underneath the legs. I already have the cables and everything. How do you
Awesome.
go about like thinking about all of this? Because it does look
Perfect.
realistic. Obviously,
Yeah.
they would be on the legs because that's where
Yeah.
it would work
Yeah.
most, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's a great question. So I experimented with a lot of different materials, right? So a lot of people use like wires, right? But I found those to not have a nice curvature to them because if you don't curve them perfectly, they're going to be like little kinks in them. Kind of
Exactly.
thing. I didn't want to have that ugly look to it. So once again, one day I was like looking around and I was like, man, like wires from
Headphones.
yeah. Are like so perfect because to tell you the truth, I didn't even paint mine. Those wires are like from my black. I bought cheap headphones from Diorama, and I looked for the thinnest ones. The cheap ones are usually the thinner ones. The ones that are attached together and you just kind of
Yeah.
Peel out,
yeah. That's right. So those ones had the smallest ones, and I actually left it straight for a long time because when you buy it, they're all crinkled up. So I actually stretched it for a long time, so it stayed stretched and nice and smooth. And I only need like only this much kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then what I did is I glued one end into a cylindrical plow rod, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other rod, and then the female component is just a bigger plow rod, and I just put it in, right? And then I put that whole enclosure into one of those Bandai like builders part vents. So you can kind of see later. Actually, you can see in slide 29 the arm part.
Yep.
You can see how I made it attach, right? One
Yeah.
side is attached to the piston area. The other side is attached to the shoulder binder with
That's
like
so
the
awesome, dude.
extra vent. Yeah. So like once again, I was like, I kind of want wires hanging out because I want it to look like it's repaired, right?
Yeah.
Like you would see these things, right? And it's also not only repaired, but it's also added on to the suit, right? And this arm part is actually, you'll see actually in the next slide, the 30. You can see it's actually from the Lupus Rex arm that I used. And I kind of
the little thing that comes out.
yeah, that's right. And I married that with it because I was like, oh, this looks perfect, like it would match so well,
Mhm.
And so it's literally grafted on, like from another kit, right? So it makes it look kind of realistic, right? And then like you can see in the next part, the other arm is like kind of this, I wanted to make more details in that. Like you can see how bare the before was, right? And then like I wanted to just kind
That
of
was
make
ugly.
it look more detailed. Yeah, it was like nothing there, right?
Yeah.
A funny side, well, yeah. But anyways, yeah. So I'll move on because of time. Sorry guys, I'm taking up so much time. But
No,
like,
you're good, bro.
It's okay, man.
this is like
It's okay. It's okay.
this is like the back skirt area for the next two photos. You can kind of see this one. I really wanted to open it up and just like detail it out like crazy because you can see how plain the old one was.
Oh, so you actually cut the top
One of
off?
the
Oh, that's
questions I
cool.
get- Yeah, I cut the top off, right? And I put magnets so it's lifted up a little bit more.
Ooh.
And so
That's awesome,
a lot of
dude.
times
Holy shit.
people ask me like, what's my favorite kits to work on? I used to say like, oh, I do love MGs. Don't get me wrong. I love MGs. I love PGs. But the kits that I do like working on are the ones that have the least amount of detail, because that means I can
high
detail
grades.
it up. So whether it be HG, MG, PG, any kit, doesn't matter. As long as there's like a lack of detail, I kind of like it because then it's like a canvas for
It's a
you to
blank
work
canvas,
on.
to paint on.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a blank canvas, right? Whereas if you take a kit that's already super detailed, maybe even like any unicorn kit, right? Like it's kind of hard to like detail that more because of all the sliding panels and stuff. The more you add to it, the more messed up it can look sometimes too, right? Like you don't want to over detail something, right? Because that's not, well, I mean, everyone has their own style though. Like I don't want to like harp on people who do that. Like I still have an appreciation for it, right? But,
I'm
like,
just never
at
gonna
least
do that
for-
again, so thanks.
No. I don't mean any offense at all. But yeah, so you can see, for example, in slide 34, how I cut it out and stuff, and then how I detail it up and stuff like that.
That's awesome, man.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
There's a reason
And
this
then-
is a champion. Like, holy God, this is amazing.
No, trust me. There's guys in the world who are like way better at me than this. But like,
Yeah, but you went
I
up
was just
against
so
them.
fortunate enough. Oh no. But like this next one, the chest area actually, yeah. So yeah, if you look at 35, 36, doesn't matter, right? You can make those tiny pistons. One quick tip actually is if you take like a metal wire, you can actually just strip the plastic part out of the metal wire, and then you get a really tiny piston.
Oh,
So you just leave it with the wire and the metal, and you got a super tiny piston. And you just got to make sure the stripped part is really clean, you know? And then you can put that there as a tiny piston detail anywhere you
This
want.
is what I have to make pistons.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of using, like this whole big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's fully metal, right? But if you use one that has a sleeve in it, you don't even need to make the female portion of the piston. You just kind of cut the sleeve part really well, and then bam, you have the male portion and the female portion already in it.
Nice,
right?
nice.
So,
Yeah.
So that's kind of a nice quick way of making a tiny piston. You know, you
Dude,
might not
I'm
always
gonna be stealing so many techniques from you, bro.
Yeah, do it. Like,
They're
honestly,
like, why hasn't Chris
like,
painted anything? He's been in his room for like a month. Yeah, I'm not coming out yet. Just wait. I'm not coming out.
I give you full freedom, and in fact, I like to share these things with people. I always tell people whenever I post pictures, like that's why I like to post these progress photos, like especially the ones in the collages. I love taking collages because I like to show people how you can make this stuff. You know, a lot of times people are like, "Oh, my fingers are so big, I can't cut that small." Well, there's actually ways around it. You know, and so you know, it's nice, right?
No,
that we can all share ideas.
My fingers are so big I can't cut that small. Dude, nobody asked you to use your finger to cut. Use them.
yeah.
No, they made like specific like drills, hobby knife.
Yeah,
That's the reason why
that's
they're called hobby knife, hobby drills.
Hobby tools.
Exactly. It's made for large fingers to work on miniature stuff. Right?
Exactly. I couldn't stress on that enough too. Is like a lot of times, like, yes, you do hear people say like, "Oh, a piece is only as good as the artist." You know, like you can get such expensive tools, but if the artist is crap, the piece is crap. It doesn't matter what tools you have. That's true to a certain extent, but you still do need the proper tools. Like I always tell people, like it is still important to have the proper tools. You know?
Yeah, don't make it harder for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
No, exactly.
Right?
I'm gonna to anybody who says that, come on, try chopping vegetable with cardboard.
Yeah.
Come on, go ahead.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, probably the first cut works. Yeah, but
yeah, that's so true. That's so true, right? And so, the next one, this is also a first for me too. Slide 37. It's kind of putting an LED in. I've never done it before, you know, especially on an HG, right? So once again, I had to look up all this tutorials, how to solder and how to like set up a circuit and I put a switch into it too. Like you can see, there's a switch on the back that turns it on and off, kind of thing. You know,
dude, that's genius, man. That's genius.
Yeah,
a lot
that
of
is
people
genius.
forgot about that. So it's like they have to take it apart and then turn it on and then put it back again.
Yeah.
So you have to switch, implement it.
Exactly.
I'm stealing
that.
I'm
And the switch kind
sorry.
of looks like a panel detail in the back too, right?
Exactly.
A lot of people actually don't know about this part, but it's an actual detail, right? So, you know, so that's why I even painted the switch too. But yeah, so I mean, little things like that, right? Like a lot of people won't notice. And like, if I show it to like the regular person, they're like, "You're crazy, man." But like, I love it how I show it to you guys. You're like, "Oh, this is so cool," right? So most people don't appreciate it.
I'm downloading. I'm just downloading all this information.
Dude, I can say the same. I can say the same thing. I'm always in my house. I'm by my desk doing whatever, and then I'm showing my wife. I made this. You know, you see.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh yeah," and then
Yeah. I know it's like such a self-satisfaction thing, right? It's like I made this. Like you're the only one who knows how much effort you put into it.
Exactly. I was like, it's like me. I made this cannon from a straw. You know the straw that you see.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like, whoa! And then that's like 1.2 seconds. That's it. Done.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Or sometimes it's like, "Oh, that's nice. I don't like the pink you use there, though." It's like, what?
I didn't ask you about the pink.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's right.
Oh man.
And so, but you know, to move on. So the next one, the binder, you can see the binder in 39, right? And so that one I really want to mod to look cool, right? And like, so little things like that. On number 40, I did, you know, modding the binder cover. Once again, I used kind of the elbow areas for like other kits, right? For my seed kits that I had. And details from guns and stuff. I find guns have a lot of cool details like that you can totally just like cut off and sand down and just glue onto like a piece, you know, or an area, right?
But seriously, Ryan,
My mind's blown.
like every single part of this build is touched by you. Seriously.
Yeah. So that's actually a really neat. It's cool you mentioned that because I totally thought that way too. You know, I was like, wow, this is like so much care, time, and effort has been like. But the amazing thing is that there's so many modelers out there who do the same, if not even more than I do. You know, and so that's why I have so much respect for people when they show. Actually, it was interesting. I was talking with one of the previous winners, Antonius. You know, and we were chatting when we were in Japan together. We're like, it's so funny, you know, a lot of times you post a picture of just like this, before and after, and then people are like, wow, this is so cool. But then you don't realize the amount of time that it took to go from the before to the after, you know?
Yep.
A lot of times this part here could have took me easily 10 to 12 hours just to do, maybe not to scribe, but like maybe 8 hours of thinking about how to design it. And then maybe like 5 hours to like execute it, you know?
Exactly.
That's a lot of time, right?
Exactly.
And so I have so much respect for the modeler, for any modeler out there, you know, not only the ones who customize, but even like painting, you know, takes a long time. Like you guys pull all-nighters and stuff like that, right? Like it's a lot of work, right? And so I have so much respect for the modelers, for any modeler who just like pays attention to their kit and just like details them up to the best of their capability. I have so much respect for that. That's why I love this hobby so much, right? Like, because you get
to
all
detail.
levels of dedication. It's so dedicated, these people, right? So, yeah.
True. Seriously, I mean, like, and the amount of documentation that you do, it's just as crazy as your builds.
Yes.
I gotta say.
That's another skill set.
Just during one of my first videos, a lot of the times like you get carried away by doing something.
Yeah, totally.
And then you forgot. I'm like, shit, I forgot to shoot that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
but
this
And
then this is the thing
where you
job. Yeah, exactly. And then this is a one thing, you know, you kind of like retake, like cut, reshoot, or whatever. No.
Yeah. yeah.
So I mean, you did a good job on documenting your steps and all that because it takes a reminder. I mean, a constant reminding, and you know, like documenting yourself while doing it, it kind of takes the joy away as well. I understand.
Right. Because you can't move to the next step until you've taken the photo, and you're always like, I have to wait until there's. Well, at least for me, I like natural lighting, so I'm like, I have to wait until tomorrow morning before I can take this picture, and then I can move on to do the other part of it. You know?
Dude, your problem isn't a problem. What the hell?
Did you say you'll wait till the next day? I'm gonna be like, all right, that's good. Ready to go.
Nice. Yeah, it's so funny. But you know, the reason why I want to document it is because I want to like be able for people to see and ask questions, and I love to tell them and share whatever I've learned because that's how I learned. I literally learned everything online, right? And so it's amazing, like to know how much you can learn, right? And and that's also why in this sharing, I wanted to show my first pictures, right? Like of my first 3 painted builds, right? Of like what you can really achieve if you kind of stick to it and work at it and like slowly hone your skills, right? Like there's so much that you can do, right? So and the roof is like so high, like I'm nowhere near like mastering any techniques at all. There's still so much I don't know, so much I want to try out. And so that's why this hobby is so much fun, right? Because there's no one who will claim to be like, I'm the best, right?
Yeah,
there are guys I look to who are
you can't be the best.
Yeah. Exactly, right? You know, so I mean, there's always going to be someone better than you, right? And like, and I mean, it's not even about being the best a lot of times, right? It's just about like, you just want to do a better job on your next kit every time you do it, right? So
exactly, it's all about challenging yourself, pushing yourself.
That's right. It's exactly. It's a personal thing, right? It's not like I'm going to be better than so-and-so. It's like, no, I want to do better on this model than I did on my last model kind of thing.
Exactly. Right? It's not about competition, bro.
That's right. Exactly.
Or competition with yourself.
Man, we're the same person, man. We're the same person.
We are. We are. We are. I hope we're the same because I want to win GBWC as well. One day.
GBWC is not everything. Not everything. There's so much more.
I'm gonna see you guys in the finals.
Yeah.
Chris has been saying that for the past 2 weeks. I think he's trying to use the mental learning or mental things. Like he kept saying.
That's awesome.
He just kept saying, Justin, I'll see you in GWC finals. I said, cool. I'll buy a ticket to see you there, bro.
yeah. That's so awesome, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the next couple photos are all of the base. So once again, like like I said before, I want to spend as much time on the base as I do on the model. So this is my first time fully scratch building something. And so I know I wanted a mechanical base. I kind of had an idea. Actually, for the most part, I just knew I wanted a mechanical base. I didn't want any other detail on it, right? So I drew up like hundreds of designs, cut out plot plate, scribed it and everything. You can look at the next photo. I added like extra. Where I drew inspiration for these is like airplane. Like when you look at airplane kind of cross sections of the wings, you'll see that a lot of it will have kind of trusses like that.
Yeah.
You don't see it in this photo, but there's like trusses with like holes cut into them to reduce weight and stuff. So I looked at a lot of pictures of like cross sections of like hangars or like airplanes or mechanical things, right?
This kind of stuff makes sense because I mean I watched a documentary on making planes and it's actually hollow.
Yeah,
everything is hollow.
that's right.
Yep.
Exactly, right? Because you need to reduce weight, right? And so, in like 45, picture 45, once again, I want to include a human element to my diorama. So I use those figures, like those three guys. One guy's kind of climbing out of a hatch.
That's my favorite part.
The other guy's like waving for help, right? And the other guy's like, I'm leaving here. Like,
I'm out.
Like, see you guys later, right? Yeah, exactly. Like Superman flying away, right? And then like, my original idea was to have like this big laser beam to like shoot and have this huge melted hole from the mechanical base, and then my Kshatriya was escaping from it, But part of me was like, oh, having this huge like beam hitting would probably be a little distracting. So then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make an explosion, right? And so if you look at number 46, I learned this from basically military modelers. I looked at a lot of like different sites and like learned. And then I was like, learning how to like paint it, how to set it up. So I bought one of those like wireless LED puck lights, and then I put it underneath. I painted it first. I used chicken wire, and then I use actually, this is like not cotton balls, but this is like pillow stuffing. Because I found cotton balls a little too uniform. The pillow stuffing was a little bit more random. And then just kind of like glued it together, painted it up, and then lit it. And I was like, wow, this explosion is like, that's the thing in my entry that catches your initial attention. Remember I was telling you, like when you have an entry, you want something that catches the viewer's eyes. If you're just scrolling through photos, like you can see in photo number 47, right? Because mine is an online entry as well too in Canada. So I wanted when people were looking at it, I want them to like just immediately when they're looking, like, whoa, look at that explosion. Actually, it's really funny. Like a lot of times people tell me, they're like, wow, Ryan, like your explosion's so awesome. I'm like, oh, cool. What did you think of the model? They're like, the explosion's so awesome. And I'm like, yeah, but did you look at the model? Like the model's really cool too, I think, right? So a part of me was like, oh crap, like maybe I shouldn't have done such a big explosion, right? Like maybe a smaller one, right?
But you know what?
But like
by all means, it's
perfect.
It's the first thing I saw too. It's the first thing I saw too. And
Exactly.
your ideology is perfect for an online entry because people have seen models after models after models after models.
Right.
Like you gotta understand how the judges feel.
Exactly. That's right.
The judges will be like, models, and then models, and then
boom!
Yeah, because they're like, been there, done that, seen that. Oh, I've seen really customized model suits. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's a cool color scheme. Like, oh wow, what's this? Right? This is a little different, right? And then when they look more, they're like, oh wow, okay, look, he actually took an HG kit. So once again, a side note, for GBWC, usually HG kits aren't really entered because first of all, they're really tiny. Secondly, they're like, there's not much detail to them, so people don't really like to use them, right? So it was a risk for me to use an HG kit. Granted, this is a bigger HG kit. This is probably bigger than a lot of MGs, actually. But I feel like that gave me a lot of plus points as well, too, when it came to modding, because like as long as I can make the modding as clean as possible, then if judges can see that like really good craftsmanship and handiwork was put into it, and they're like, wow, this is an HG kit? Like, this doesn't look like an HG kit. Like, a lot of times people would ask me, like, where'd you get this kit? I'm like, oh, it's the HG, like, Kshatriya Repair. They're like, no. Like, was it a resin kit? And I'm like, no, right?
And then so,
no. I made it look that good.
No. So then, I mean, that's another thing that kind of draws the judge in, right? That's what, once I said, the competition builds and regular builds are completely different because of that reason, right? Like, that's what draws you. And then as you look more in detail and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I had so much fun building this, right? Like, this thing took me like almost a year to build, right? But every step of the way, I just like had so much fun with it, right? So yeah. next two photos is kind of funny because like I don't know for people who haven't competed, but when you go there, you actually have to give them instructions on how to disassemble your kit.
Yep.
And you have to pack it all up and everything. So this is just kind of, I just threw that in just to kind of, you can see the instructions I gave and where I highlighted all the pieces, like where to put them and everything. And I was fortunate enough that they like disassembled everything perfectly and like nothing broke on my kit when they sent it back.
That's scary.
There's some contestants where, yeah, it's really scary when you have another person handling your kit.
I couldn't even.
And sending back to you, right? Like I'm like, where do you even start? So that's another thing about these builds is you have to build it so that it can be disassembled. That's a hard thing to do, right? Like when you design it,
you can't just glue everything in place.
You can't just glue everything unless you have this big box with like tons of things that you're going to ship there, right? With the whole thing intact, right? But that's another big challenge in this build is that in this whole competition is that you have to build it so that you can take it apart. You have to remember you got to take it apart, right? Yep. So, but anyways, that's part of my whole journey, right? So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh, and okay, so the next two, so that's the gold trophy in slide 50. That's the gold trophy that I won. Once again, I've never won a gold trophy in my life before, so that was kind of like such a big honor, you know.
So not even in school?
No.
I didn't win shit in school.
Let me give you a bat.
Or third, right? I was, you know, that was my biggest success. No, I'm just kidding. No, but so that was the first time getting a gold medal. Yeah, so that was really cool. And then like the next slide, I was really honored too. Like they give out 3 special awards every year. And I managed to get one of the special awards. It was like a corporate sponsored award called the Men's Begin Award. And so so it was amazing. Like year. Okay, so I'm just going to talk briefly about it because later on you'll see the video of the whole thing. But honestly, when I got there, I was not surprised if I got last place. And actually, I'd be happy because looking at all the entries, I was so blown away. It's one thing when you see entries in pictures, but it's another thing when you see them in person, right?
Yep.
And when you can actually look up straight to them and look at all the details. Honestly, guys, like those guys are so ridiculously good. Like I would expect to see maybe some paint scratches. Like sometimes I have paint scratch. Like a lot of times I have paint scratches, right? And I'm like, oh, as long as I angle this model a little bit, you won't see it, right? Or a lot of times, I don't know if you notice, if you take a picture of Gundam head on, you'll notice a lot of asymmetries in scribing, right?
Yeah.
But if you angle it 3/4, any asymmetry in your scribing will not be seen, right? I still try to scribe as symmetrical as possible. Don't get me wrong, right? Because when it comes time to judging, they're gonna see all different angles, right? But that's what I'm saying, right? A lot of times you can hide a lot of things in photography, right? But when I was there, personally looking at each of the entries, I was so blown away. I was like, man, these guys are so ridiculous. So coming out of it, I was like, I'm just happy to be in Japan. I don't care if I come last place. In fact, even if I got last place, I'll be so honored because like I'm representing Canada, right?
Yep.
And like, fortunately, it's like, to my surprise, first of all, I did not expect to win any other trophy. And I won this like Men's Begin thing, right? This corporate sponsor. Secondly, like it was so crazy. I came in 4th, like in the world, right?
Oh, wow.
And that was totally unexpected, right? Like, so, I mean, this whole trip was like such a dream trip, you know, and is way more than what I could ask for, right? So, but anyways, sorry, I've taken up so much time already. So
no, seriously. I mean, everybody in the chat, everybody who's watching right now, they're just engrossed on you as we are. I mean,
no.
Seriously. I mean,
you're good.
It has been amazing. I mean, seriously.
No.
Seriously.
We have a video that you sent over to me.
Yeah.
That we do have on slide 52. If you want to, we all have to press play on it at the same time so we could watch it along with Chris.
Sure.
And we'll just let it play out, and then we'll come back after it's done, like to talk.
Sure. Okay.
All right. So
Ready?
Whenever you're ready, Chris.
Yep. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's not playing. Yeah, you didn't put it in correctly, sir. Unfortunately. Oh, there it goes.
No,
it's not playing.
No, it's
playing.
It's working. It's working. I was lagging. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You're wearing a unicorn shirt?
I'm sorry. I bought that in Japan.
I just messed it. I messed it.
I'm so sorry.
Should we just mute ourselves?
No, you're good.
Okay, you can see everyone.
Everyone's carrying their model.
Yeah, those display cases look insane.
We're gonna be sending this up very soon. And we have
It makes
2
such a
hours
big
or an hour and a half. Finally, it's safe and sound. All of one piece.
Whenever your heart is broken, don't ever forget you're golden. I will find a light in your soul, I'll be there. Never leaving you in the darkness, even when you're out of focus. I will be the one to stay safe. I'll be your inspiration.
This is like the Men's Beacon Special Award. I got a special award.
Now 3 special awards.
Yeah, I was one of the recipients of it. And I got 4th place as well, too.
Yeah, 4th overall.
Wow, what an honor.
After the award ceremony, we got this bringing this back to Canada.
Yeah! After the ceremony, we're heading to the Big Gundam for photos, group photos. Yeah.
The guy who's racing in Canada. Heading outside.
We're almost there. You can see his feet.
Award ceremony. Can you show us your medal again for your award?
Okay, so. Over here, right? The right hand on the left hand. Okay, so.
I'll be your inspiration. 'Cause I know that you'll do just what
That's a dope photo.
I love the Singapore guy. Singapore.
We gotta do that when we go. We gotta do that when we go.
Yeah,
Yes.
you guys have to do
Us
it.
three, yeah, us three, yeah, man.
That was awesome.
Do it.
Yeah, I mean,
Take
like,
a picture.
I mean, like, Ryan should join us too. Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Ryan
I love you
doesn't mind too.
Nicholas, we got Nicholas,
You
we
guys-
got Gundam Guardian. Everybody just go. Same time.
Yeah, man, we should like make a bus tour.
That'll be so awesome, man.
You're very special.
Oh, you even got the autograph. Nice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Man, I would
He's
too,
awesome,
dude.
man. Yeah, so cool.
Dude, I would kiss his forehead.
I almost gave him a hug.
Oh, you should.
I would have.
Campaign parts.
Yeah, galore.
Oh, that's cool.
Those nippers, what are those things?
So they gave us
Those are
campaign
parts
parts.
each to spend
Yeah,
on
campaign
any
parts,
Gundam
yeah,
we
yeah,
have, and they closed the entire store, and we could just go around the store and get whatever kid we want.
What?
It was so cool.
What?
Closed down the whole shop.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Go buy whatever you want. Damn.
And they closed the entire store for us, just so we can walk around.
I mean, I see a little random kid. Was he a champion too?
Probably the
He
kids
was
champion.
there's
Yeah,
junior,
kids
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
there's
okay,
junior
cool.
entry.
Even when
16 and under.
I knew it. Look at him. He's so happy.
You're definitely glowing in the video. You're definitely glowing. I can just see the
I was
glow.
honestly living on cloud 9, man. It was
you
like
are made for videos, bro.
Yeah.
no.
But seriously, no, dude, that's the champion build. Yeah, I know. The astronaut.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
The Exia.
Oh, that
Yeah.
won first place that year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Carbon fiber painted, like, I couldn't have agreed more that he would be number 1. He was so good. His build was so clean, so perfectly executed. And it has that wow factor. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
When you look at it, you're like, wow.
Yep, because the shapes kind of draws your eyes into
Yeah.
it, right?
Exactly. And he used that infinity mirror in the back, so it just like focuses on the gunman. So I learned a lot from this.
Oh, the lights. Ooh.
Dude, we learned a lot just by watching a video itself.
Yeah, this video, like, I really want to share that because of this, right? Like, there's so much.
Details.
It's like you're part of it. Yeah.
So did you stay any longer after the thing?
I stayed actually 5 days before the competition, and then there was the weekend competition, and then we flew back on the Monday.
I see.
Oh, this is surreal. Thanks for being with me.
Yeah,
Man, congrats. This is a very good video.
Yeah, great video.
Props to my wife. She shot the whole thing, and she, well, we both edited it together. But she was like my personal cameraman, all day long. She was awesome.
Nice. You know, Jazz made me a promise. He said one way when we go to Japan, he's gonna vlog for me. Jazz made that promise. He said,
No, he said he's gonna blog for me. That's what he said. I have the messages. I got it right here. I got it right here, boy.
No, I said I'm gonna take a lot of pictures of you. And then he said, I'm gonna vlog for you, bro. Everywhere you go. I'm like, okay.
That's funny.
No, seriously, Ryan. When it comes to everything, thank you for being on the show.
Oh,
This video and everything.
Thank you.
Like honestly, it has been really insightful to how you plan things out, and I think all of us, including people in the chat, have taken a lot from.
I've
what
leveled.
you said. You're just you're a gold mine of information when it comes to all of it.
no.
Really
I
glad.
still
I'm
have so
really
much to
thankful.
learn, but thank you.
No, seriously, thank you, Alina, for keep putting us in
Thank you.
contact, because seriously, you have given us like more than we expected, and and yeah. So guys out there, let's go on to the competition, right?
Yep.
'Cause it is the end of the month, right? It is the end of the month, so we do have.
It's the beginning of the month.
Oh yeah, May 1st.
Well, technically, yeah. So April has ended.
Yeah.
And we're starting with May, but we will be announcing the winner today, right, guys?
Yep. We will be announcing the winner for April, which is at the last segment, during the last segment. But before that, we're gonna do the feature build of the week. So this is being the first week of May. Let's look at our criteria and stuff like that. For people who just joined us, we do feature build of the week based on 5 criteria, 5 judging criteria: originality, creativity, color scheme, details, as well as craftsmanship. So, okay. So with that said, let's move on to the first contestant, which is, let me scroll down first.
I can't even say his name.
Riley?
Yeah.
Riley,
Sorry.
right? This is a kit bash, right? This is the 00 Icarus Razor.
Yep. This is
yeah.
definitely a pretty cool kid bash. Seriously.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
So-
seriously,
I like this kit. I like it a
I
lot.
like it. And then the paint details on it, on the shield. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the marbling's good.
that's- I guess
That was my favorite. Yeah.
The marble is good. So, like, but I want to know what Ryan thinks. Seriously.
Yeah, no, the marbling is what got me first too. In that first photo, unfortunately, we can't see it because the shields aren't there, But I really liked how clean the paint was, For me, the one thing that I might dock points off for, so the build quality, the paint finish looks pristine, very, very good. The only thing for me is if you look at the main suit, especially the chest area, it's gray, right? And you have the accents of the gold and the green near the outer parts of the suit. A lot of times, like when you're looking at the suit, you would look at the suit first, but with the green and the gold on the outer edges of the wing, it usually draws my eye first to the wings, So it draws away from the suit itself. So the only thing I would dock points on is maybe the color choice, either using a different color maybe for the chest part that might tie in a little bit more with the gold and the green. Because right now when I'm looking at it, I immediately am drawn to just the wings because I'm like, oh, I see the bright green because everything else looks white and gray, right? So that would be the only thing is just color choice, color placement. But I feel your paint technique is really clean, really good. You're very skilled at that. And that marbling effect is tricky to do. So you pulled it off really, really well there.
Yeah, man. All right, very nice. So small
like my suggestion is like probably it will look really, really good if the whole thing is in white.
Yeah.
White, green, and the gold, and a little bit of red.
Yeah.
And you can leave the knees, which is the exposed frame part, back to its original color or the color that he's using right now. But the chest pieces, the armor pieces, just leave it white. It will look so good. It's so angelic with the wings and all that. So yeah, it's gonna be even better if it's all white, and then with just keep the chest white, and then the rest will be original as it is.
Yeah.
It's real.
Good job.
Right?
Yeah, good
job, man. Good job.
Yeah, good job, man.
Really, really good.
Then we got contestant number 2. We got Sack with Hack 97. He's got the empty dynamite. So he actually submitted this last week. Gave him some feedback and he brought it back. He has done some customization to it. He has finished it. He actually called it the final revise, I think.
2.0.
2.0.
He had it. Yeah. So he added some weathering, some decals, and everything. And it looks way nicer.
Way better
than it did before. It looked really nice before, but it looks way better. It looks more alive. Me personally, I still would have gone for a little bit different of the color scheme because, I mean, the Dynamis is already green. It is a metallic finish, even though it is hand-painted. If you guys didn't know, it's hand-painted.
Wow.
But I would have gone for a different color. I'm not really a big fan of the green on the Dynamis, but that's just me personally. But really good job. Like, really
great job.
Way better. Like, great job, man. Great job.
Seriously, like you improve, like Zach improved whatever that we said last week. And just within the week, he managed to put on decals and all that, even though they are not perfect by any means, okay? But you know what? The effort alone, and plus, like the how to say, the thought of improving himself,
yes,
thought of putting in effort and actually listen to what we say.
Yeah.
It's really, really appreciated. Seriously, because like Ryan wasn't here the last time. The build that he did was barebone, but the texture of the paint itself is so good. Being that it's hand painted, it has like a metal brush finish and all that. And being hand painted, like one of the problems with hand painting kits are paints get too thick, and the armor itself is being too meaty, and then a lot of the fine details are lost. But you can't see that in this build. So exactly. So
you saw how my hand painting was in my beginning kits. It was terrible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is like.
I'm sorry, but
No, it's not good. It's not good. I'm a terrible hand painter. I'm terrible.
Yeah, but you're a good airbrusher. You're a good airbrusher.
Oh, man.
Good job. Good job.
Oh, yeah.
Good job. Seriously, good job. Good job.
Contestant 3, we kind of know already.
All right, so
yeah, go ahead.
Should we move on?
Yeah, go ahead. Contestant 3.
All right, contestant 3. This is by our very our regular here on the show, which is Mr. Scanner.
Poland,
Scanner from Poland. He's having this Psycho Zaku build. And recently, because of these contestants, we have this Psycho Zaku last month, and then this month we have Psycho Zaku again. I'm really drawn to Psycho Zaku.
Yeah, I want one now. Seriously. Really bad.
It's a big box. The Psycho Saku box is like
you don't see the booster is like bigger than the kit.
Is it bigger than the fast box? Is it bigger than the fast box or what? Is
It's
the
like
cycles
almost the same size.
It's
a
But that's
like pretty big.
Yeah,
not too big. It's fine.
For a
The
master
tank is
grade,
like the size of a water bottle.
yeah,
the
dude,
tank
it's
is
for
size of a
master
water
grade.
That is
Oh,
crazy.
seriously? It's like the size of this?
I mean, you can't.
Yeah,
you
almost,
Can't compare, You can't compare your FOSS to other boxes because the FOSS is a special case. It's a Verca. This is not even a Verca. This is just a master grade Psycho.
Oh, okay.
Is it a Verca? Is it Verca?
It's Verca.
That's very cool.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's a
It
very
is
cool.
Verca. Yeah. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Verca.
so you're right. It would be like the FOSS. Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
It's
that.
Verca.
One thing I really liked about this entry is the sleeve detail, the crunching up of that fiber. I've seen a lot of people do a very poor job of doing it, but I think he did it really nicely. Like, in fact, the way he scrunched it up, it looks pristine, like just exactly how it should look. And even, I don't know if he applied paint onto it or anything, but it just looks really good. Like, I love how clean this kit is, but especially that crumpled that fabric or the plastic that's used. You know, he did a really good job doing it. Yeah.
He did. He really did.
Well,
All right, good
I'm
job,
not.
man.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure about Zaku's, but did he add a lot of like tiny details on it, or is just really that detailed? Because I've never seen the original one.
The shoulder looks different. Like it looked like he had like metal trimmings around the shoulder, and
No, he definitely added details. He
definitely.
added details 100%.
Spikes
Yeah.
are added, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, but on the armor panels, not too much, but definitely he added some details for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Like, it is nicely detailed. It is. It really is.
And
Good job, man.
The paint
Yeah.
job is good. Really good.
I want to say, guys, wait. Before he cannot win this week.
Why?
He already won.
When?
Didn't he already win?
Oh, the GM
He won-
sniper.
he won.
that was from
He
last
won-
month.
Oh, but this is the next month.
Yeah, it's next
That
month.
This is
was-
May, right?
That was
Yeah.
last month. That was like third week of April.
Yeah, this is for May.
Yeah. So that was in April. This is May.
Bro, wake up. Wake up.
It's fine.
You're addicted to painkillers, right? Damn it.
All right, let's move on to contestant 4, Mr. Noble Mecha with his RGM RX or 96X Jesta Shockwave. Pretty sure he got
Cool.
inspiration from Transformers.
Yep.
Yeah.
He did say that in his bio that he got his inspiration from Transformers,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love Shockwave's one of my favorite.
which is the Decepticon Shockwave, obviously, right?
Mhm.
So this is all I can say is that the paint scheme is special. Okay, I've never seen this kind of paint scheme, the paint scheme before. So originality wise, definitely a plus point there. But again, the execution wise is not there yet. I would say it's not there yet. I mean, being that our entries are getting better and better and better. I'm not nitpicking here. I'm not being a dick or anything. But it's just that being compared with other entries that we got, this one has a bit of flaws. I gotta be fair.
I mean,
right?
for me, yeah. I mean, I totally agree. For me personally, the color scheme for me is not doing it. There's something. I feel like the purple is clashing with the black, especially this kind of purple.
I think the color choice is okay. It's okay. There's nothing bad about the color choice because creativity wise, I mean, everybody has their own opinion, right? So
Yeah.
but I'm saying that on execution wise, like let's say the details, the decals, you know, some paint is not finished properly. It's not pristine. Okay, being that the level that we are in right now, I mean, I can't judge you based on like I'm a beginner, right?
Mhm.
Right. You can't be saying that I'm a beginner. I rushed this project as an excuse. Sorry to say that, but saying that this one it has a lot of details that is not well polished, which is a shame. So if he knows how to fix his decals, it's gonna be great. Seriously, this is a great kit, and the color itself, it's really close to the theme that he's going for, which is Shockwave, bro. So he said it already, Shockwave.
Yeah.
So what happens if I told you that I'm going to build a Shockwave, but it looked like Megatron?
Yeah.
Exactly, right? So he's sticking to his team. That is a really good point, and it really shows in his build. I mean, Chris didn't even know the bio, and he can say, "Oh, that's Transformer Shockwave."
Yep.
Right. So
Mhm.
so Lloyd Noble, you did a good job in presenting your idea, but execution wise,
Yeah.
maybe the skill level isn't there yet. So practice, practice, practice. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to
But
do.
don't worry, you'll get there. You'll get there. I love how you wanted to venture into different color schemes. That was really, really good. So never
Exactly.
let that creativity inside of you kind of fade. You know, keep on doing it.
Yep.
You can do it, man. Like,
Yep.
it's, yeah.
Yep.
Because if you look at a lot of GBWC entries, some of them are so crazy and so elaborated that you don't even know that it's possible.
Right.
Like 2019, the world champion did a koi fish
Yeah.
out of
yeah.
out of parts, right?
Yeah.
The entries from China,
Yeah.
it's really crazy. Come on,
I like
you know,
koi fishes.
yeah, koi fish. Exactly, koi fish.
Yeah.
So don't ever let creativity stop you or anybody say you're not good enough. It's just that the skill levels are not there yet. You just gotta practice.
Yeah, but we just want to. We want to see. We want to see more. We see it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to get your entries, like in your future builds. Definitely, you got an approval from Ryan. So what else do you? What else do you?
What else do you want, man? Yeah, you
Yeah,
got Ryan there.
No.
All right, very
Good
nice.
job.
Good job, man. Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
A little clap. Okay, and then we have contestant number 5.
Last one for
All
the
right.
night.
Is ID.
Last contestant for the feature build of the week. His name is the Sainami. So he's originally from Taiwan, but he's staying in Canada, I think. I don't know.
A lot of builders in Canada, man. A lot of builders.
US, California. Yeah, he's from California.
All right, what
Yeah.
side?
I like this guy's work. I follow him on Instagram as well too. I really like his style, and he's very, very creative as well too,
Uh-huh.
as you can see in this entry. So,
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah, you guys can go first. Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, like, I just love how you mishmashed, the ultramarine. It's just so cool. That little smoke effect that you added is so good. Your base is like perfect size, really good effectiveness. One issue a lot of times people have with the base is they make the base too big, and so their subject just is underwhelmed, But clearly your concept of creating a piece and communicating is very, very high skill level. So I think you've done a really good job. I mean, the paint work is amazing too, and so I really, really loved this entry. Very creative, very well painted. Base is very effective, very high skill level here. So yeah, I really liked it.
All right, very nice.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Very nice. Dude, Brian, you sum up everything. I mean, all I can say is that who would ever thought that to make this into like a game?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like I mean, even the size and the scales of the base is
Yeah.
exactly Warhammer.
Yeah.
Like the first thing,
That's right.
if you didn't pay attention to it, you'll be thinking like,
Yeah.
dude, this guy entered Warhammer. Why?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And then you look at it closer. Hey, this is not the Marines. Hey, this is Gundam. This is Gunpla, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, kudos for that. Really, execution-wise, I got no words. The cape looks amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, cape. Yeah, I didn't even mention that. Yeah.
Dude, it may be hot, it may be cold, but the cape is flying, bro. The cape is flying.
It really is.
Yeah.
All right, so
seriously.
Yeah, let's
It's
go.
literally one of the best. One of the best.
All right, let's go through the scores real quick. So,
All right, let's
yeah,
go through the scores.
Yeah, Kaylee, he got a 42.8. All right,
Thank you
Dimus,
so much for answering.
Dimus got a
Nice, very nice.
40.75.
Nice.
All right.
Yep, our Shockwave got a 44.25. Then we gave Scalar 40.25. Then, so who's the winner then? Then we got contestant number 5 got 48. Yep.
48.1. So this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, no brainer.
Congratulations to the Sainami.
Very nice work.
Very nice
Very
work.
nice, dude. Yeah, very nice.
Super nice work. I would love to see that thing in real life and just to appreciate
Yeah.
the work that is
Yeah.
put into it.
You guys can check out his GBWC entry last year. It was amazing.
Oh,
it
I
looked really
bet.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
You can check it out.
I have his IG as well, so
Yeah.
I'll be probably stalking him
talented.
later on.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, now it's time for the build of the month, which is April. So we're gonna start off with our finalist number 1, which is Guardian, Gundam Guardian, which is one of our first guests on our show.
Bard
and he did
was
share a lot of
awesome.
insight.
It was the
Oh, it
first
is
one.
awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah. So he did enter this competition, and then he did won the first week as well. He did Vidar plus a resin kit. So that thing itself is amazing. We already talked a lot
Yeah, it's
about
amazing.
them.
Yeah. On to the next.
It's amazing. Amazing.
All right.
Yeah.
This is amazing kid. You guys need to follow Gundam Guardian on Instagram because
Yeah, much love to Bart, man.
like
Much love.
Bart is like mwah, Bart.
We love you, Bart. We're gonna have you back in the show soon, man. We love you.
Exactly. And Ryan, do you know what does Gundam Guardian do in real life?
No.
He's a physics teacher. High school.
Wow.
See?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
That's
so much respect for him, man. Seriously.
Yep.
We always thought
Bart.
I'm sorry, man, but I always thought my teacher would be like, like, dude. But now if I have my
Maybe
physics-
he is. No.
like, no, he's not. But if I have my if my teacher can do a Vidar like this, oh, dude, I'll sit in
I'll
front of the
listen to
class.
everything he says.
I'll sit in front of the class like straight away, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
God.
All right, let's keep going, guys. Let's keep moving.
But
Come on,
seriously,
let's keep moving.
second finalist is a entry by Plagan. This is a Psycho Zaku entry, but unfortunately we couldn't get in touch with him, even though he has won. He hasn't replied to any emails. He hasn't responded. We couldn't find his Instagram. That's the thing. So I don't know, man. But
That's why it's important when you submit your things to submit your information, your Instagram handle, your email. Be sure to reply. Be sure to have all the information. So we can't talk to this super talented guy because we don't have anything to contact him with. So remember to follow the rules on the page.
please, thank you so much. It has a purpose there.
All right, we got finalist number 3, Skeller,
Right.
MG.
Skeller. Our regular customer, which is another MG sniper custom with the camel, and the paint job is amazing. The details are there. Well, not much of customized parts. It's mostly on paint, but he did do a lot on the armor. You can see especially on the waist part and on the shoulder pieces. There's a lot of details there, tiny details going on.
And that color on the gun, man, the gun.
Come on, guys, we gotta keep going. Come on, we know about it.
Dude,
Come on.
he did like a snake skin pattern. So
Yeah.
that's really hard to do.
All right, finalist number 4, we have Noctis with his repair
Noctis
Exia.
Gundam.
Yeah.
Extra repair kit. This kit itself, PG itself from Chris. This is an amazing kit.
Oh, it's the best.
And he did, and with the repair kit, Noctis made it another level, I would say. Mm-hmm. So with the brushes, with the chippings, it's a lot to see.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, that's a lot.
All right.
So this is all we have for finalists for our April entries, and then let's look at the individual scores right now. Finalist number 1, Gundam Guardian. He has 47.6666666667. And then finalist number 2, Psycho Zaku, we got 44.66666667. Finalist number 3, we got 47.5, which is from Scalar. And then last but not least, we got Noctis Gundam with the repair kit, 45 points flat on. Yeah. So the winner of the MG Barbatos is, ladies and gentlemen, give a big clap to
Where's it
Gundam Guardian.
Yeah, right here for you.
It's his favorite. Barbatos is his favorite.
Yeah, it's his favorite. So
yeah, Barbatos is his favorite. So I don't know. Okay, guys, just saying, it's not rigged out. We compute, and then the results came out, and then we were like, "What? Bart won?" Yeah. So guys, but seriously, Bart, great job on the Vidar. I'm pretty sure hundreds, or maybe literally hundreds of hours went into it. It's a resin kit. Resin kits are no joke.
No joke.
There are no parts that can come out. So you have to literally mask every single part.
Yep.
Right? It's not like building a regular Gundam or anything. But no matter what it is, congratulations to Bart, Gundam Guardian, as well as our this week's winner. Who is it again? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. Oh,
you fail. You fail.
The Sainami. Yes. Congratulations to you two. you'll be up in the running for the
May.
main entry. Yep.
Yeah.
So congratulations. It's awesome to see all the talented people out there.
Yes, thank you so much. And
All right.
I just want to give a thanks to Ryan one more time. Really amazing.
Hands
So
down,
thank you
hands
for all
down.
Seriously.
Hands down.
Hands down. No, we have to do it like this. Like.
the- like this. So thank you.
Or your
Thank you.
Yeah.
We hope to have you back on the show again.
Yep. Yep.
It was
Cool.
really fun, man. It was really fun.
Yep.
We hope you had a great
Yeah,
time.
it's really fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when all this is done, like the lockdown, the pandemic, the thing is done, we really need to sit down and ask, like, can you go? Can you go? Can you go? Can you go?
To go to Japan.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Nice. That was
Yeah.
so cool.
That'd be so cool, man.
Yeah,
Seriously.
that'd be
And then we can like do like a proper show, like literally show in the probably in the
Live.
hotel room or what.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That would be
Literally,
cool.
we don't have to use Discord
That'd be
anymore.
wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
That'd be
guys.
awesome.
Thank you all for showing up, everybody on the chat.
Thank
Remember
you.
to tune in next week to see what's going to happen. And that's about it. I wish you guys a happy week. And I'm sure everybody else feels the same way.
Yep.
And we'll see each other in exactly 1 week again. So,
Okay,
from us,
wait.
GTS.
Okay, wait. Last but not least, I want to say something. I've actually kind of counted on how many times Ryan say "wow." He said it probably around. He said it probably around 57 times, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll even show it.
He liked Warcraft, right? He used to play a lot of Warcraft.
I don't know too many words, so wow is. I have a very limited vocabulary.
That's the best. One of the best vocabulary. Dude, that thing is delicious. Wow.
GTS exclusive.
Wow. Dude, that grandma is old. Wow.
Oh, you're
No, thanks,
tripping.
Ryan. Seriously.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Ryan, it's been
All
a
right,
pleasure.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
From us on Gunpla Talk Show. We'll see you guys
Bye-bye.
next week.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Cheers.
Peace.
Have a good night.